try to silence the truth we shout, but we're still here, we're still calling out. Corruption hides behind a badge of name. We light the fire, expose the shame. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. The stories echo, the pain runs deep. For stolen lives we can't just weep. Elected power, but their hearts are cold. We'll bring the truth, let it be told. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight. The heroes undo the harm. Calling out corruption, we'll stand tall for justice and truth, we'll risk it all. My life mattered is the cry we sing. Together we rise, let freedom ring.
Hello, welcome everybody to our special edition of Friday Night Lies on a Thursday night. I'm Catherine Felton Page, your host and founder of Social Change Warriors. As you know, most of you, and those that are new, welcome. We are an advocacy movement, and we are here to support victims of homicide, specifically domestic violence victims of homicide, and then others that we are introduced to and that we come across on our own. So we appreciate all of you that subscribe to our very new channel. We just started in August, but prior to that, I was advocating for victims of homicides of domestic violence for many years prior to that. I've worked in domestic violence shelters. I was a police officer, and I'm a social worker. So my background leads me to support and advocate for victims and their families and the survivors of domestic violence, homicides, and attempted homicide. So we are now kind of going down a new track as Social Change Warriors. We have been live streaming since August because we were trying to get more advocacy, raise more voices, try to get more people concerned and upset about the numbers of domestic violence homicides and the numbers of corruption that are going on in our police departments locally and our cities and state officials, government officials. It's becoming very alarming. So we have to start voicing our opinions more. We have to form these little villages wherever we can. And YouTube allows us to do that. It allows us to form villages all over the country, and it allows us to support people that are in our village. We can support people like Karen Reed and John O'Keefe that are in Massachusetts village, and I'm in Florida and Wisconsin, and we have so many of you all across the country. But now we can support others, and we can become a giant village where we all care about calling out corruption and seeking justice for those that have been wronged. And that's what we're about here at Social Change Warriors. And we welcome you. We're happy to have you on any of our nights that we live stream, which is typically Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So last night, if you were with me, we had a pretty emotional night. And that's why we're usually about mid-show on Friday Night Lives, I put on the FU hat that my friend Tiger is loaning to me because things get deep on Friday Night Lives. But I'm wearing it starting out now because the other victims that I've been advocating for and working on their cases, several of the families have given me permission. I'm actually helping them uncover the injustice and meetings with the police, looking through the police reports, listening to audios. And the other cases I'm calling here in Florida for the last 2 weeks, we've been updating you on those on Wednesdays primarily and some Thursdays. There is so much SHIT going on in both of these Florida cases that I'm just asking those of you that are for Free Karen Read and Justice for Jen O'Keefe, if you have a little room in your hearts and in your agenda, if you'd be willing to help us advocate for where is Sarah Ebersol, the missing mother out of Marion County for the past 2 years. That case has turned into a very twisted dark web, and we're learning more and more every day. I feel in my heart we're getting closer to finding her, closer to possibly a witness finally telling us what really happened that fateful night of March 3rd, 2022, March 2nd, and then into March 3rd of 2023 when she officially went missing. And then Kara Veach, who was lobbying and advocating for her dear husband, Jason Veach in Volusia County. That case has taken so many twists and turns. And if you're interested in true crime and interested in injustice for people that have been victims of crime and their families have no justice, both these cases are really right up your alley. They are full of injustice. They are full of police missteps. I'm sorry, Marion County Sheriffs. I'm sorry, Volusia County Sheriff. But yes, missteps. It happens. I mean, people are human and even police make mistakes. So in both these cases, mistakes were made early on, which have compromised both of these investigations to where we could have solved these cases and had some resolution, some justice. There'll never really be resolution. That's not a good word. Justice, because when your family member has been M-worded and is no longer with you, and that's wrong, right? That's, first of all, it's against the commandments, the commandments of, if you believe in God. If you don't believe in God, it's just wrong. It's unethical. It's criminal. It's everything you could call it. So when these families don't have that justice because they can't get their loved one back, that person's life was taken by another person who completely either lost their mind that night and it was a one-off, they would never have hurt anybody prior, they would never hurt anybody again, or they've hurt others and they've continued to get away with it, or they're just very mentally unstable and could come and go in this murderous M-word, YouTube, state. So we're dealing with someone who's no longer here and their family members are grieving and they will grieve forever. So what we're left with is justice and truth. And we ask questions. We want to know why these cases aren't being solved. Why are we not finding missing Sarah? Why are we not trying harder to remove the child from Joe, the biological father, who is not capable of being a parent? And that has been recorded and there's evidence and evidence and evidence of it. And why is Jason Veach, why doesn't he have justice? Why didn't somebody who should be getting some type of, even if it's a misdemeanor for what their role is in his a tragic accidental death. It wasn't premeditated. It was an accident. But even in accidents, people have to make some kind of restitution or pay some kind of price, right? So both those cases have taken lots of twists and turns in the last 3 weeks. They're in our library. If you want to follow along with us, it would be very meaningful to both their families. So lots of stuff going on that was not cool. So the Ford hat comes out. And then, as you all know, Karen Read's case is just one big cluster F after another, just constantly nefarious things going on, new evidence coming out that should have come out in trial one, and now it's coming out, accusations being thrown by both sides, being nasty to each other on social media. Like, it's getting nastier by the day, which is very alarming to me. I'm very alarmed that people can't just stick to facts and not call people names and literally trash their families and their dogs and their cats and their this, that, and the other thing. It's blows my mind. Like, I've really never seen anything like this. But I have noticed now as well that the Idaho 4 case, the tragic case of the 4 students that were unalived in Idaho, that's getting interesting now, because now there's really interesting, like, conflicting information coming out now that's been withheld. And there's been two camps on that he was framed and that he didn't do it, or that he was not the only one that did it. And then there's the camp that he absolutely did it. There's mounds of evidence, and on and on. So now you've got those two sides, and they seem to be hiking it up now on social media and getting more nasty and very rude to one another, and like calling people, crazy, calling people unstable. I mean, every name in the book you could think of as well, calling people out for their weight, their size, their height, their nationality, their gender, their sexual orientation, their religion. It's just crazy. And I don't know how we stop it. I don't know. I just don't know. The feelings are high because someone has been unalived, and that's natural. But that shouldn't lead you to defame people, or to bring in family members that aren't part of it and shouldn't be part of it. Or just to call nasty names of other people that are just trying to make up their minds. There's still people on the fence in a lot of the cases that are out there in the media right now, and they're just innocent crime followers trying to make up their mind, and then they're being harassed and slandered and doxxed. And I don't know how we get this under control, guys, but we're not participating in that here at Social Change Warriors. We like to stick to facts. We do not like to make fun of people. We like to stick to them. If they're making fun of themselves by their actions, if they're being total idiots and lying through their teeth, we can obviously call that out. And that's what we're doing here on Friday nights. And tonight is Thursday, yes. And we're calling them out for their lies and their corruption and their breaking laws and their criminal activity. But we do not call people out here for anything else, for their looks and all that jazz. So if we do make it to Jen McCabe tonight, I would like you to refrain from anything that has to do with her looks, her size, her weight, I don't care about any of that. I just want to know, did she lie? Was she evasive? Is she a criminal? Did she participate in the cover-up of the unaliving of John O'Keefe? That's what we're here for, right? So thank you, everyone. There's my little rant for tonight, because it's fun to start out a little bit here and there with the rant of the night. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for coming on Friday nights. Thanks for coming this extra night, because we got pretty excited getting into Colin Albert, because he has somewhat turned himself into somewhat of like a movie character with his behavior on the stand, off the stand, his behavior in high school, where he was, getting in fights and just kind of being a bully. But honest to God, when you're raised in a family of bullies where their actions are always fisting and this, and just a lot of weirdness, like who takes a family photo giving the middle finger? I don't know, but apparently the Alberts do. And who constantly gets with all their guys and shows their fist? None of my son's friends, they all played sports in high school. None of them did fist moves, or, they might have done certain things that have to do with uplifting type signs, but the fist thing, really, it just seems so ridiculous and so juvenile. And if that's how you were brought up and that's the environment you were in, how does anyone expect Colin Albert to be or act any different? Other than we could hope that as he grows and matures, and this, if he was not part of this, and it's proven that he wasn't, then maybe he will become a better human. I don't know. But what happened with the younger son and the whole rabbit incident and defacing that house, that's just, kids that do that to me are really the P word, right? They're punks. And I don't know how that happens. I don't know how decent kids, when they're little and they're great when they're little, turn into this kind of person that's defacing houses and killing animals. It's just really bizarre to me and sick. So that does go back to the parents in a certain degree. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but to a certain degree it does. Now, not always, because there have been parents of murderers, word, YouTube, that were not bad parents. They were decent parents by all accounts. And that person was just not right in the brain. The brain chemistry was just never right, probably right out of the womb. And for instance, Jeffrey Dahmer out of Wisconsin, he was never right from day one, but yet his parents were decent people, hardworking, contributing to society, no criminal records. So you can't put everyone in a box. You can't do that. We'd like to do it because it makes things so much easier, but we can't. Everybody's different. Every situation's different. You have to look at everything with an open mind as best you can, but you can also do the 1 + 1 = 2. When a family's giving the bird all the time and showing the fist all the time and being kind of bullies in the community all the time, how do you expect your kids to be any different? I mean, some of them could, maybe they'll say, hey, I don't really like my parents. They're not very cool. And maybe they'll be different. And maybe Colin will grow out of this, and maybe he won't get in fights anymore. And maybe he'll be a better human someday if it's proven he did not cooperate or was not part of the death of John O'Keefe. And that is still all to come out, hopefully down the line, right? So hi, everybody in the chat. Welcome. Thank you for joining Social Change Warriors tonight on our special Thursday night live of Friday Night Lies. So what we're going to do tonight is we started Colin Albert last Friday. We got about 20 minutes in. So we're going to jump right back in, and we're doing the cross only. We weren't up for Lally. Now with Jen, if we start Jen tonight, we're going to have to do a little bit of Lally, because it's so clear the difference in her personality when she's with Lally versus when she's not. And so we'll do a little bit of Lally, and then we will definitely not finish Jen tonight, but we will finish her tomorrow night and maybe start on Matt. I don't know. We'll see. But I appreciate all of you that want to talk out this trial with me and figure out the lies. Now we have our Julie with us again, my new co-host for Friday nights, and we're super happy to have her back. And she is here with us, and we'll be looking at some more of her experiments. There's our Julie Nagel blob. And so Julie, hi.
Let's go Canton. Let's go Canton. What a great week for Canton. What's her face won? What's her face? Susan Harrington. And Rita got so freaking excited, and that makes me so happy. I
know. I left that all to you, because you are our resident Bostonian, and you keep me updated when I fall behind on all things Canton with the select board. Many of us have communities that have these town councils. A lot of towns call them town councils, right? And you guys call them the select board in Massachusetts. So I love it that you can keep me updated and keep our chat and our narrative going here on what happened. But I was surprised. Were you surprised?
I was shocked as shit. I was watching it with Mr. Dixie, John Camo, and he had his like boots on the ground assembly where he was in not a van, he was in an SUV, and he was getting interviews while people were walking around and giving updates, and he had precincts called in, and I guess Rita was doing the same thing simultaneously with Mike and the Young Jerks. So I didn't see her, but I was waiting and was like, where the hell is Rita? Where's Rita? But the Sweeneys came by, and the returns are coming in. They said, okay, here are the numbers from this precinct, and they were low. I was like, oh shit, we're gonna end up with more of a mess. Bob's going to do his dramatic gay Bob thing with the you fired me, now I'm going to make your life a living hell. And then the returns came in, and it was not only did she win, she hit it out of the friggin' park. 2-1 she won by that margin. And then Mr. Dixie went into town hall and got his and scooped. I forget who else was supposed to give the interview, but got the interview, and we just had a good time. It was so happy. Congratulations to Canton. The North Shore of Boston stands with you. I've got my green on.
That's fantastic. I love to see the solidarity in Canton and everything they've been through. I mean, this is just
no more of these.
Small step, though, right? It's kind of a small step forward, because they still have a lot more to go. So it's baby steps, but it's a huge big deal. I'm sure that the ousted were completely stunned.
Let's go. Oh my God. I'm sure that Bob and what's his face probably had a conniption. I guess that they were having a party somewhere. I don't know where, but that party, I think, ended like this. Wah, wah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
well,
it was very exciting. And Rita was so freaking happy, and that makes me happy.
I didn't get to see her reaction yet. What was she?
She had purple pom-poms and was so excited. And when the numbers came in for one of the precincts, she like was elated beside herself. Was like, oh
where was she? Who was living this?
Oh, that was Mike at the Young Jerks.
That's what I thought.
It was Mike and the Young Jerks, and then on John Camo's on Canton Chronicle, it was John Camo, the lady Boozy Susie, and his sidekick Eric. Eric DiGirolamo.
Right. I caught a little bit of that. My friend's still in the hospital this week, so she hasn't been released yet. And then I unfortunately lost another friend to a very rare, fast-growing cancer this week. So it's been a tough week, and I haven't had a lot in the tank other than for these cases that I'm helping with here to be involved in too much of everything else on social media. So I tried to keep a little caught up on everything. And thank you. I'm glad you text me throughout the week and keep me informed on what's happening. And I appreciate that.
Well, I try to keep it at a minimum because I mean, number one, you're out of state and like you're not going to look at like a small little itsy bitsy town. Plus, you have all the other stuff going on too. So I'm like, all right, we'll do like big picture, not just like, oh my God, look what Bob did.
Yeah. Well, I got to know Rita a little bit when she was on the show with me this last summer when I first started living last fall. And so I do care about the people of Canton because I've gotten to know so many of them, and including you and others. So I do like to keep an eye on what's happening with them. And there's plenty of live shows that are living it because they live there and that's their community. But I do keep an eye on it. And thankfully this week you kept me updated while I was distracted. So thank you so much.
Speaking of a really good shot, Real Deal Colleen O'Neill had a reaction video, and that was about what like 20 seconds of her just going like, good riddance, you're gone, he's gone. Got so excited. So good for her too.
Yeah, she's amazing. She was on with us at the beginning of the year back in January and kind of updated us on all the just calling out corruption, the plight that she's been under with her business and with the cops in that area and the town. It's just unbelievable. She's been busy, but she's invited. She knows she's invited to come back on anytime and give us more updates on what she's been up to. So be good to have you back.
Plus she's right next door to John Connolly. Like I don't know if it's at her house or at the business, but walked right by and was like, oh, you want to give me a ticket? But yet look what we have here. And he has like a whole entire storage thing. It's like, where's your ticket? Ticket? So there you go.
All right. So before we jump into Colin, I just wanted to tell everybody that Friday nights we are currently covering going over the witness testimony from the first trial, and then we will go over the witness testimony hopefully in real time every week and stay on track and on time for Karen Reed for freeing her. We do not believe that she hit John O'Keefe with her car. We believe he was in a fight, and that's how he sustained his injuries. So that's who we are supporting, and we're always happy to debate with you if you're here and you want to debate with us. But it would take a lot to change my mind at this point. Science is just not on the side of Karen hitting John. So, and again, I'm Catherine Felton Page, your host and creator and manager of our program, Social Change Warriors, our movement. You can get a hold of me anytime. I'll put up my email at the end. Feel free to email me or PM or DM or anything. So I'm just going to skip through some of these things we've covered in the past on Friday night. So this was what last Friday night looked like after I got done living for 3.5 hours. That's Tanner and his entire area of toys and puppy bed. And I think he changed positions about 3 times once he did finally fall asleep after he tore up paper and played with every toy that he owns. So he's down here again now taking a nap because I wore him out.
I saw these.
So did any of you see this tape? This was put up by Larry. Well, it's the profile of Larry Bird, but it's our dear friend. And I don't know if she likes to say who she actually is. So I'm not going to, but I know her well. And she puts up a lot of great stuff on Twitter X, if you're on Twitter X. And this was put up today in response to everybody calls her so many names now. I can't even say your name right anymore. Is it Coffin Duffer?
Oh, Coffin Knocker.
Coffin Knocker, Coffin Dofer, Coffin Dofer. I mean,
Knocker.
That poor woman's got so many names, but
was it Jennifer Coffindoffer?
Yes, it's Jennifer. It's Coffindoffer, but I was just trying to be a smart ass because everybody just likes to purposely, because she's been so hatefully vocal about this case and never ever from day one was she even considering it. Now, most law enforcement officers that I've spoken with, some of my friends who are retired and myself personally, I tried to keep my jury out in the beginning. I was trying to be, on the fence on purpose because I wanted to hear both sides. I wanted to see what I thought. I wanted to hear the evidence, and it didn't take long to figure out what a complete asinine, mess that the Canton police and the Massachusetts State Police made of this case. And I am just befuddled that just beyond, it's just mind-boggling to me that someone who has worked for the FBI could go on Twitter X and social media right out of the gate and make this case so much about, and she's not, she's supposed to be for justice. So how are you for justice when you're not even trying to be in the middle on this case now, as crazy as it's become and all the evidence and the science? And she continues to slam people and be nasty and, remind everybody that in her opinion, Karen's a murderer and that she purposely ran over John O'Keefe. And the jury didn't even think that. The jury didn't have enough at all to even remotely think that she did it on purpose or that it was premeditated, for God's sake. So I don't know about her. I've tried to communicate with her a little bit in her chat, and she's gotten back to me in her chat a couple times, but nothing too much. Now, this was put up in defense of Lucky because she came after Lucky this week, if you guys saw that. So we'll talk a little bit more at the end. But hi, Kathy. Friday Night Lights on Thursday. Yes, what a treat. Thank you so much. I needed to get back into Colin Albert. We started him last week, and it just needed to get done so we could get to Jen McCabe tomorrow night, maybe even tonight. So yes, thank you. Thanks for being here. And this was the meme that was put up by one of Karen Reed supporters, who's very active on Twitter, very positive individual, and Luck of the Irish. And I just love that, because there's no way in my mind. And when we get to Lucky, we'll go over his testimony. Wasn't very long. We'll go over that soon. To me, he told the 100% truth. There's no way that guy lied. I don't know what in the heck these people are talking about and why they want to disparage someone who's lived his whole life in Canton, was friends with everybody, never heard a fly, hardworking guy for the city.
His brother's on the board too.
Yes. And hardworking guy for the city of Canton, a good man. And why do you want to disparage this person on Twitter X when he asked to be left off of it? And I'm only showing this because people are defending you now, Lucky. So we've never shown your picture. We've tried to keep you as incognito as you requested back when the trial ended. But I know he told the truth. I think everyone who believes that Karen Reed is innocent knows he told the truth. I don't know how anybody, even on the other side, could go against him. I mean, he definitely saw a light colored Ford Edge parked in front of 34 Fairview. I have no doubt in my mind. I've hashtagged about it since way back when the trial started. I've hashtagged just Ford Edge, and I've hashtagged, now my new one is Chris Albert's Ford Edge, because I do believe that was Chris Albert's Ford Edge that was parked in front, because Lucky is colorblind, so he can't see colors, but he can see dark and light. And had that been a black Ford Edge like what Brian Albert drove, he would have said dark colored Ford Edge, but it wasn't. He said very clearly on the stand, light colored Ford Edge. So yes, MCAT, and hi, MCAT, welcome back. And yes, Lucky is good people. He absolutely is. And so we will see what happens. He is on the list, correct? I haven't had time to read. I mean, there's like 90 people on both their lists.
Oh yeah, no, it's ridiculous. So he's on the list, and the little that I saw about people going after Lucky again, I don't know why, but and I don't know why she's bringing this up, but Kate Peter brought up, it's like, oh well, I know why Turtle was trying to blackmail Lucky, and John Camo said, if you're talking about what happened at the rink, because she said something like, oh, it goes back to the Punkapog hockey rink, the ice skating rink, and John Camo said, if this is in reference to, I guess, I don't know, he drove the Zamboni and hit something. If you've ever been to a hockey rink anywhere on earth, you're going to be delayed because either the Zamboni broke down, or they hit something, or it was sloppy and there's water all over the ice, or they clipped the boards. I mean, I can't tell you how many times they clipped the boards and something happened. Like, I don't know, like unless he drove it through and destroyed half the rink. That rink hasn't changed. I mean, I played there in high school too. That nothing happened. So
yes,
I agree with you. What they're making a big deal out of, but
anybody who lives in a town anybody who lives in a town where high school hockey, youth hockey, college hockey is big, like my town, Madison, Wisconsin, you guys out east, we all know about Zambonis and what the odds that you're never going to rub up against the side of a hockey rink is like, it's going to happen. So
plus you're driving on ice. It's ice. It has a mu friction of 0.1, which is like frictionless.
Right. Exactly. So before we bring up Colin, which is very next, I also wanted to point out something that's been going around a lot on Twitter. I find interesting ever since
Giardia is going around again.
Oh yeah. when we had our live and we were talking about how many people would have would have had eyes on that front yard when they either
Oh, that's
pulled
true.
up or left or got there, right? And everybody, I've seen all different kind of numbers all over Twitter in the last 2 weeks. So it's interesting because we were living about that just for the last 2 weeks, constantly talking about this. So I've always had the count at 13. I've seen people list 11, 9, 10. So let's count together tonight because I'm pretty convinced I have it right at 13, but I could be off by one. So let's count it together tonight. So we know for a fact that Brian Higgins left that house, and supposedly he left it in a Jeep that was supposedly parked in front of the mailbox that we don't believe it was. But if it was, like he's saying, and Jen and Brian and Matt, he would have had to have turned those big old headlights on, and he would have been shining right there, right on the flagpole, right where John would have been. And if he left, testified he did, which was between 12:30 and 1 o'clock, there would have been very little snow at that hour. There's no way he wouldn't have seen a black blob like Julie Nagel supposedly saw laying in the front yard. So there's your one. There's Brian Higgins. Matt McCabe peeking out the window many times. Supposedly, why? What was he doing? He was waiting for John and Karen to come? Like, I don't think so, right? What was he peeking out the window for so many times? And Jen McCabe with her crazy story. Why is she peeking out the window and constantly texting? Why wouldn't you just walk out the front door, go up to the car and say, hey, are you guys coming in? That's what I would do. I think that's what 99.9% of you would have done, not texting or peeking out the window, right? So now we're up to 3, right? Brian Albert Jr. peeking out the window, helping Julie Nagel look for her brother who was coming to pick her up. So now she's not, yeah, there she is. So now we've got Jen, Matt, Brian Albert Jr., Julie Nagel, all peeking out the window constantly for almost 10 minutes. Then you've got, so now we're at 5. Then you've got Ricky in the truck. You've got Heather in the truck and Ryan in the truck. So now we're up to 8. And they swore they didn't see this Jeep parked there. They never saw anything parked there but Karen Reed's car. So we're at 8 now. They would have had headlights. They pulled back by. They never saw John. They never saw John in the car either with the dome light on, right? So we're at 8. Then you add 9, Caitlin, 10, Tristan. They were outside. They would have surely seen something, right? So we're at 10. And then if you add Lucky, right, our tow truck driver, that does put us at 11. Now I'm wondering, who am I missing? I feel like we're missing somebody. Oh, wait a minute. Of course we are. They're not in this picture. There's my 13. We are missing Allie McCabe, who, right? Didn't she show up at some point when John would have or could have been in the yard? Possibly.
So that's the one that I don't actually remember. She supposedly left at a certain time, but then came back, or she was around the area and
right.
She left at, was it earlier or what?
Well, we've got 11. We've got 11 for sure. I'm not sure why I thought it was up to 13, but I think it was because of
she also told like at least 2 different stories, and she got caught in a lie. On the stand too.
Right. I think it was because we weren't totally sure. Oh, wait a minute. What am I saying? No, we're at 12 because of Sarah Levinson. Sarah's not in this picture.
That's right. Yeah.
Sarah Levinson puts us at 12 because she left the house with Jen and Matt and Julie. So Sarah, I knew I was missing somebody, that she's not in this picture because I don't think she ever spoke about the Jeep, but we'll see when we listen to her testimony coming up here. But that's for sure puts us at 12. And if Allie was or was not there, depending on when she did or did not pick up Colin, which we don't believe was at 12:10, then that would make another person. And that's where I say it could have possibly been up to 13. So we've got 12 or 13 people coming and going from this house, peeking out the windows, and not one person saw a body, right? So yeah, Kathy says she picked up Colin at 12:10, but we know that's not true.
Nope.
We know she didn't. So we believe that's a lie, right?
And
so
yeah, and plus somebody I forget who it was, if it was online or whatever it was, that they remembered Matt McCabe. So everybody, it was during Sarah Levinson's testimony, which I still have to watch again to see exactly what they saw, because the people in that car had the best chance of seeing good old Nagelblob because they walked from the house into the car, which is in the driveway, facing the lawn. So if you're facing the house this way,
Right.
you're looking to your left,
Mm-hmm.
you would see something. Now,
Right.
Matt McCabe got in the car, started it up, warmed it up, but then went back in the house. So everybody in the car was sitting in the car outside where there was an alleged blob 90 degrees, 40 feet away from them at the most. And I mean, they said he went inside for like 5 minutes, like, oh yeah, I just went, like, like quick thing, like, oh, I forgot my thing. And then I said something and then I went back. But they were in the car and had the most time looking in the lawn.
Exactly.
So,
And
they
so
didn't see
MCAT,
shit except for what Julie Nagel said, allegedly.
right, allegedly. MCAT says that's 22 eyes. Well, if you add Julie Nagel, then that's 24 eyes. And if Allie came to grab Colin and get him the F out of there, then you are at 13, right? Times 2. So there's your 26 eyes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And then let's not forget your Chloe, because Chloe's the whole thing. Chloe witnessed everything. Unfortunately, Chloe, we don't know where Chloe is, and dogs unfortunately can't tell us. So, yes. So Kathy says, just like everything on the 360 app is a lie, right? They're trying to say that the 360, and so many people in Twitter in the last couple of weeks have been doing these mock tests, like what Julie's been doing with the taillight and with the blob and with the snowblower. They've been doing tests of going up and over bridges to do the step count. They've been doing tests with 360 app to see if their location is accurate. And everybody's saying that everything that they tried to use as a argument is not right, that it's all just fabricated bull crap, right?
Yeah.
So all right, well, thanks everyone. Julie, any other updates while I share my screen and pull up our Colin Albert testimony?
Well, so I know that this doesn't exactly this doesn't relate exactly to Karen Reed, but this relates to some of the data and like some of the stuff that I do. Is that again, I don't know if she's going to see this, but I just want to put it out there. I want to give a shout out to Video Jesus Abby.
Yes,
he's getting kicked in the pants, and I don't like it. This happened to a couple other people when they tried to show some stuff, and same with Boozy Susie. I think Boozy Susie they backed off of, but Giardi is still going after Video Jesus hard, and all that Abby did was basically like just exactly what I did, which was, hey, how feasible is this? I have an interest. I have the availability. Instead of sitting out in the snow, she said, hey, let me go and mock up.
But you have every right to care. You have every right to care about Karen Reed and John O'Keefe and care about this case. And you don't have to be a YouTube content creator or anybody that's become semi-famous because of this movement that was created to care and do these things. And so I agree with you completely. Abby has all this talent and she's getting ripped to shreds on social media. And this is what happens. So this is this gang up on the mentality, which is what you watched me go through, which for me, it wasn't even close to as big a deal as what Abby's dealing with, but I got ganged up on too, as you all know, in November, December, and January, because I wanted to stay in the middle. I wanted to continue to appreciate what Turtle can give to the case, and I wanted to appreciate what Sean on the golf could give to the case. And I wasn't willing to completely discard either one of them. And so I got it from all sides. I got it from the Sean camp, from the Turtle camp, from the Glare camp, from LTL Media camp, because those that were live with me weren't a fan of LTL, so they were getting in verbal things with him, and I never have. I don't really need to care about all these different content creators enough for anything they say about me to hurt my feelings.
Exactly.
But things got last night was a really tough live because we were talking about domestic violence. We were talking about all of the pain and anguish that both of my guests last night had suffered at the hands of domestic violence abusers. And it just got me thinking too about all the bullying going on. And then I was thinking about the bullying that's been going on social media with the two camps and within Karen Reed in and of itself, and picking on people that aren't as big of creators for no reason, just because they have a mind of their own, just because they want to speak out their own thoughts on their own channel. And then they want to gang up on you so that, and make everybody not follow you and believe you don't have a voice or that you're not talented in what you're doing. And that, to me, that's just the old bullying on the playground mentality. And it's just mean. It's just the whole hashtag mean people suck thing. So I kind of got a little carried away last night at the end of my live stream. So I apologize to all of you that were there, because I had never really addressed a couple of nasty things that were said about me back in January. I just let it all go. And so I addressed one of them last night, just one of them, not all of them. I probably will never address all of them because it's just done. It's over and done with. I don't follow people anymore that were nasty to me in the winter. I don't need their subscription. I don't need their following. There's plenty of decent, great people out there that care about victims of homicide and care about justice and calling out corruption that I can align with and be a family with, a village with. So, but I did call that person out last night. I probably got a little carried away, but anyway, that's okay. I was allowed my moment. It's been a stressful time here with my dear friend Jeannie in the hospital with literally a broken neck, and my other friend dying of cancer. I just needed to vent last night. It was the Angry Bitch Club, and that's what we do on Wednesdays. We bitch.
You're allowed.
And on Wednesdays, we swear. That's our new motto. On Wednesdays, we swear. So if you don't mind swear words and you want to swear and vent out whatever it is that's going on with any true crime that you're following, or any family member or anyone you know that's been a victim, please join us on Wednesdays for the Angry Bitch Club, because that's what we're doing on Wednesdays. So, so rounding it back to Video Jesus, she's super talented. This is what she does for a living. She's done some amazing experiments. I would love to invite her on. I don't know if she'll come on any shows anymore now after what she's been through this last week with all these people going in chats of these live streamers, calling her names and saying she's this, that, and the other thing. It's like, you don't know her. You don't get to defame somebody. Who do you think you are defaming somebody in a chat box just because the person that is live streaming that you follow wants to defame this person? So you're not going to do your own research. You're not going to find out who this person is on your own. You're just going to jump in a chat and do this gang member type bashing, like playground bullying behavior. That to me is crazy. It's absolutely beneath almost everybody. And if you did it, you should be ashamed of yourself, because you don't know her and you don't have any business defaming her. If you don't want to follow her, that's your choice. There's so many choices now on YouTube. It's mind-boggling how many live streamers there are. So you don't have to follow people you don't like. If I'm not your cup of tea, so be it. No hard feelings. If Video Jesus isn't your cup of tea, okay. But you don't need to go on there and slam her and make fun of her hair and make fun of her looks and the way she talks. And that's just childish, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. So there. Thank you, Julie, for bringing her up, because she didn't deserve it.
I just wanted to say, because like I do something similar in the sense of like, she looked at something and said, hey, that's interesting, maybe I can help, let me rip this apart, and did so methodically and so thorough, and to have these assholes online go, oh, but and then have the fucking just have Giardia come down and go like, oh no, actually it's this, and like make all these videos. Like, first of all, number one, you're not helping. Second of all, you're worlds away. Third of all, who invited you? Why are you still here? We want Video Jesus, not the other stuff. No, thank you.
Exactly. And it's okay. We can swear a little bit on Thursdays. We try to tone it down on Thursdays and Fridays a little bit. Wednesdays is our big swear night now. There's just too many cases with too much BS going on that we need to vent. We need to swear on Wednesdays.
There's so much going on.
Yeah, but we can swear a little bit. Yeah, it's all good. People can handle it. We're all growing up. All right, let's get back into Colin. Let's pick him apart, because he deserves it, and his little choir boy outfit is just hysterical. I remember when I watched this live, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, okay, it is court, and I would expect him to dress up. So I think it could have been worse. He could have been dressed like his dad, right? With a vest on and a tie and a bow tie or what. So this isn't too bad, actually, but it definitely is. Let's clean him up. Let's fix his hair. Let's make sure he looks like the athlete that he is, and not the other side. I think Colin has two personalities. I think he has an athlete side that's probably an okay kid, and then he's got this punk side where he wants to give the middle finger and show the fist and get in these silly fights that he gets in. So
he has a black eye in this one. Look at him closely. He has a black eye. Yep.
I'll be danged. All right. So let's get back into him. Let's liven up the chat box. Let's call out some lies. Let's call out some corruption and see what we can get out of good old Colin Albert tonight. All right, here we go. This is approximately where we left off, guys. In fact, I'm going to go back just a little bit so that we can kind of get a handle on where we were, because then it'll all come back. I'm going to go back about 3 minutes.
I don't believe that I received a phone call. Maybe my lawyer did, or my father, but I don't know. I don't believe I did.
So if your father received a phone call and then told you you need to go to the DA's office to meet Mr. Lally, that would be a conversation with your dad about your preparation for your testimony, correct?
I wouldn't say so, no.
You would categorize that as such?
No.
Okay. Because, of course, even though you went to the DA's office to meet Mr. Lally and a sergeant from the Massachusetts State Police to talk about your testimony, you didn't mention that to your dad.
No.
Didn't mention that to your mom.
No.
And when you got done with that meeting, Dad didn't ask you, how'd it go, son?
Nope.
Your mom didn't say, how was that meeting?
No.
About this massive murder case.
Objection.
Let me ask you in a different way. Do you consider this to be a high-profile murder case?
Objection.
Stand on relevancy, ask it differently.
In your mind, this is an important case, correct? Obviously.
Correct.
But according to you, it just never comes up in the Albert household.
No.
Okay.
Julie, are you raising your hand?
No, oh, no. No, the Bruins game's on, and I wanted to make sure that the volume was down. No, I'm not raising my hand. Trust me.
Oh,
You'll know
cool.
very
Well,
soon.
but if you want me to stop it or chat, if you want me to stop it so we can discuss, just type in the chat stop. And Julie, same. Just raise your hand and I'll stop. Sometimes I stop because I want to talk about what he has
You
to
got
say,
it.
but I want to let it roll for a while here and get to the good stuff.
This kid's such a punk.
You were asked to look at a couple of text messages yesterday. Looked a little bit like this. You seen that before?
Yes.
When did you see that before?
Yesterday.
Before yesterday? Had you ever seen that before?
On my phone, yeah.
Okay. Other than on your phone when you made the screenshot, did you ever seen that before? Mr. Lally ever show it to you?
Not that I remember, no.
So you two didn't discuss that in your meeting a month or less ago?
We could have. I don't remember.
But again, you don't remember.
Mm-mm.
Is that no?
No.
Did Mr. Lally tell you why he wanted to question you about those text messages?
I don't remember.
Oh God, here we
Did
go.
Mr.
with
Lally
the
tell you
numbers.
anything about what you might be asked on cross-examination?
No.
Did he ask you about any videos that you've ever posted?
No.
Did he ask you about any comments you've ever made online?
Nope.
Any photos you've ever been in?
No.
Any fights you've ever been in?
Nope.
Who's Courtney Proctor?
She's friendly with my aunt, Jillian.
I'm sorry?
My aunt Jillian, she's friendly with.
When you say friendly with,
I find that to be really weird. So help me out here, Bostonian, Julie, our resident Bostonian, and any other Massachusetts. I have never heard a teenager describe a friend of a parent. Like my kids would have never said, my mom's friendly with them. That's, to me, that's just weird.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm sorry, I missed that part. What happened?
Okay,
You said what?
I'm going to rewind because I find this to be weird. He says his mom, Jackson says, who's Courtney Proctor? And then he says something to the effect of, my mom's friendly with her.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh,
yeah,
that's
I'm going to
okay.
let me rewind it so you can hear it. I've never heard a teenager, and I've raised two of them, and I've had a ton of godsons and goddaughters. I've never heard a teenager say that about their parents' friends. Let's go back just a couple of minutes.
seen that before?
Yesterday.
Before yesterday, had you ever seen that before?
On my phone, yeah.
Okay. Other than on your phone when you made the screenshot, did you ever seen that before? Mr. Lally ever show it to you?
Not that I remember, no.
So you two didn't discuss that in your meeting a month or less ago?
We could have. I don't remember.
But again, you don't remember.
Mm-mm.
Is that no?
No.
Did Mr. Lally tell you why he wanted to question you about those text messages?
I don't remember.
Did Mr. Lally tell you anything about what you might be asked on cross-examination?
No.
Did he ask you about any videos that you've ever posted?
No.
He asked you about any comments you've ever made online,
Nope.
any photos you've ever been in,
No.
any fights you've ever been in.
Nope.
Yep. Nope.
Who's Courtney Proctor?
She's friendly with my aunt, Jillian.
I'm sorry?
My aunt Jillian, she's friendly with.
When you say friendly with, describe that. What do you mean by friendly with?
I know that they're pretty friendly.
That's just so
Have you ever
weird.
been to
That's
Courtney
interesting.
Proctor's
He
home?
caught himself.
Yes.
That
How
is
many
just
times
so
would you
weird.
say over the years?
4 or 5, maybe.
Her family,
So think about it this way. Okay, guys, what do you think of this? I think he was prepped to say, not to say the words, they are friends, or they are good friends, or they are family friends. That's what I think it is. It just hit me. What do you guys think? I think that's it.
Yeah, I think you're right because like around here, and again, I don't know if it's the Italian thing or what, but like if you say something where it's like, oh, that's so and so, my aunt, like that's my aunt or my uncle from this, when it's not really like a blood a relative or like a cousin. You say like, oh, that's my auntie, blah blah blah. Like, oh, well, how is she related to you? Well, that's my aunt. Like that's my mother's friend from they go way back, and so I call her aunt. Or you say like, oh, that's my mother's friend, or that's someone there. I think they're trying to distance it as much as possible by saying
That's
like,
exactly
oh,
what
Jill
it
Daniels doesn't
is.
know Courtney
Yep.
Proctor. No, of course not. Why would they?
Yep, he was prepped
Yep.
not to say they are friends. That's exactly what this is all about. And I'm surprised it didn't hit me the first time. I just thought it was so weird the first time, but I didn't really put a lot into it. But yeah, I think so too. And MCAT, yep, she says agree. He hesitated. I think you're right. Yeah, he absolutely did. He was going to say they're friends, but he's like, oh shit, I can't say they're friends. I have to. What other word can I say? Oh, they're friendly. They're friendly. Yeah,
and he doesn't know the word acquaintance either because he's not that smart. So it's like, oh, I don't know the word acquaintance or friendly with, or like like a casual associate. Nope.
So you had to come up with their friendly. Yeah. Okay. That's it. We just figured it out. There's another. So now we get to say that Colin's, we're not necessarily saying he lied here, but he's being evasive. Here's a vote for evasive.
Sidestep.
Yeah.
is close to your family, it's fair to say.
Not that close. Close though.
Not that close.
When you say
Close
not
though.
that close,
That's a
close
total
though, what does that mean?
contradiction.
I'd say we were more close when I was younger, not when I got older.
Okay.
More closer.
How old are you now? You're 20?
Correct.
Yes, MCAT. Only thing he remembered not to say or to say.
Yeah, approach. Okay.
Absolutely. You
I have a photo I'd like to show Mr. Lally first. Ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you. Take a look at that photo and tell me if you recognize it. Just look at it to yourself, please. Let me know after you studied it for a second.
Yep.
You recognize the photo?
Yes.
Who's in that photo?
Objection.
So
Why,
the
Lally?
objection sustained as to the content of the photos. Did you want to come to sidebar and explain this to me?
This is ridiculous. There's no judge in America that would have allowed that objection for him to look at a photo, right? That's crazy. The typical Lally BS. All right, let's get through this. We don't remember how long the sidebar goes, so let's flash forward through it.
Oh, I think that was the picture when they showed him as the ring bearer at practice.
Oh, right, exactly.
Something like that. Show
Right,
like, oh,
right.
you don't know one another? You have no idea who this person is? Oh, okay.
Right.
Do you really want to spend the rest of your life watching ads? Guys, just download
No,
Pi.
we don't
It's a
wanna
free
watch
Google Chrome
ads.
extension, and it basically blocks ads for you. And it
Okay, we're back.
This is Zamboni. We're just talking about Zamboni.
Thank you. Mr. Albert, approximately when was that photograph taken?
Objection.
We can get that, but
Jesus Christ,
we'll
Bev.
answer
Come
that
on.
question.
Exactly. So stupid.
10 years or less ago, I'd say. I don't.
You were the ring bearer in Courtney Proctor's wedding, were you not?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Thank
Correct.
you,
So
Bev.
when you
I'll allow
say
that.
we're friendly, but not that, or we're close rather, but not that close. You were actually close enough to be a member of her wedding party when she was married to her now husband, correct?
When I was younger, correct.
Well, of course it was when you were younger. It was
Mhm.
10 years ago.
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yeah.
That's my question. So for at least a decade, your family and the Proctor family has been close enough such that you and Albert were in her wedding, correct?
Objection.
Ask that differently, Mr. Jackson.
For the last, well, at least at that time, 10 years ago, your family was close enough to the Proctor family such that you were a ring bearer in Courtney Proctor's wedding, right?
Correct.
And who's Courtney Proctor's brother?
Michael Proctor.
And is Michael Proctor in the photograph that you're looking at?
Yes.
Person on the far left,
Correct.
looks like he's in a tuxedo.
Correct.
You were also in a tuxedo.
Objection.
Sustained.
What I'm getting at is you all were part of the same wedding party, correct?
Correct.
And that's a photograph of Courtney Proctor's wedding and the entire wedding party, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Is that a photograph of a wedding party?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
Yeah, that really got me. I mean, I'm glad Heavenly Lawyer will be back with us one of these Fridays as well. He and I have been chatting. He's been working on a really big case where he's trying to get someone out of jail, I believe. So he's going to come back and tell us about that. He wasn't able to before because it was still going on. So we'll have a happily angry lawyer back here soon, because some of these like reasons for objections just don't make sense, right? And then ask it differently, Mr. Jackson. So
Ask it differently, okay?
Can you imagine though how confusing that is for a jury? So just because, so he's going to ask the same fucking question, but she's making him ask it in a different way so that it can be legalized, right? So why is our criminal justice system like that, right? Why is it so to the narrow point that they can ask that question, but they have to ask it differently? And that's got to be somewhat of give a jury member pause. It would me if I was on a jury.
Yep. Jump through all these hoops, okay, Mr. Jackson? I don't want you to get any ideas about asking any of these people questions where they might learn something about something, okay?
Right, exactly.
Basically that.
Julie, you sound just like her. Oh my God. Can you wear a blonde wig tomorrow night? Let's both wear blonde wigs tomorrow night and try to do our best Judge Bev impressions. But we wouldn't want to upset Auntie Deb, though. I don't want to think Auntie Deb thinks we're coming for her job.
Oh no, he was talking to he was looking for people to interview, and Dennis Sweeney came by and was like, "Oh, you were the first one to do this," and everybody thinks that like you or me and I'm you. So I guess they're gonna do an interview where they're both gonna dress up as Auntie Bev. So I guess everybody's Auntie Bev.
Oh yeah, when the Auntie Bev was out parading around, that was Sweeney.
Yeah, Dennis Sweeney. Yeah, he dressed up as Judge Bev.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now in the very beginning of the case. That's right. So, okay. All right. Back we go. I just had to.
Canton proud.
We just had to stop it there for a minute. So MCAT says, I cannot wrap my head around Michael Proctor not removing himself from this investigation. Did he honestly think no one would find out they've been friendly with for decades? Yes. Yeah.
Yes, they did. Yes, he did. He definitely thought he was going to get away with this because that's the way it's been for eons.
Well, with Bev and her Cape Cottage and her friendship with the Alberts and such, they all thought they could get away with it. So yes, Julie, MCAT made a comment about Mr. O'Keefe, and we all feel for him, and it's heartbreaking. I feel for the whole family.
Yeah, I mean, this is just basically Massachusetts in a nutshell. I mean, it's taken something like this and other people to look at this and see, like, oh, it's not like this nor anywhere else.
Look at that.
I'd like to see that, MCAT. I think I have a nun costume in the basement. That's a good
Both
start.
you and Michael Proctor are depicted in the photograph, correct?
The boxing nun.
Yes.
Correct.
How long have you known Michael Proctor?
Since I was a little kid.
And you've known him well enough to know, I don't want you to tell me or tell the jurors, but you know where he lives.
Yeah.
You consider the Proctor family close to your family?
Close, but
Yeah.
not that close.
During the course of, for instance, just as an example, during the course of this event, joyous event at a wedding, you actually sat at the head table along with the Proctor family because you were given the honor of being the ring bearer in Courtney's wedding, correct?
Correct.
And you know, of course, that being in a wedding party is reserved for the most special family members and friends, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
In your mind, was that a special honor?
Objection.
Is that what you thought when you were little? When you were in that?
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay.
And you were never interviewed by Canton Police Department in connection with this case, correct?
No.
How many times were you interviewed by the Massachusetts State Police in connection with this case?
Once.
And that was in July of 2023, correct?
I don't remember exactly when it was.
About a year and a half after the events in question. Is that right?
Around there.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection if you saw a copy of a report of that interview? Just to get the date?
Sure, yeah.
May I approach you?
Yes.
I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Take a look at paragraph 1. It's in the middle of the paragraph. If you'll just read that to yourself, please. You got that?
Yeah.
You saw the July 18 date,
Yes.
2023.
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection that that was the first time you were interviewed by the Massachusetts State Police?
Correct.
May I approach you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Zeus.
Who conducted that interview?
Michael Proctor and one of his partners, I believe. I don't remember.
Michael Proctor was the lead investigator that interviewed you, correct?
Correct.
That's the same Michael Proctor that appears on the far left of the photo of that wedding party, correct?
Correct.
Did you find that interview, by the way, how long did the interview last with Michael Proctor?
I do not remember.
Do you remember testifying at one point that it was about 10 minutes?
No.
You testified at a different hearing, a different proceeding, not this proceeding, one other time, correct?
Correct.
I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
May I
It goes
approach?
back.
Yes.
Speak.
I need a foundational question first. I apologize. It's my fault, Mr. Albert. Do you believe it would refresh your recollection as to the length of that first interview if you were to see your testimony from a prior proceeding?
Yeah.
May I approach you?
Yes.
Thank you. Take a look at this, and I'm going to direct your attention to line 18 and 19 of that transcript. Let me know when you've reviewed it. Is that yes?
Yeah.
May I?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
How long was that interview?
Which interview are you?
The interview that you had with Michael Proctor. That's what that question was about, that you just read.
I still don't remember.
You recall that it says that you testified, question, how long did
Objection.
the interview last for?
The objection sustained where his memory is not refreshed. You can do this differently, you know that.
Did this refresh your recollection as to the question and answer, how you answered the question, how long that interview lasted?
Yes.
Okay. Did you say 10 minutes?
Yes.
So during the course of that 10-minute conversation that you had with Michael Proctor, what was the tone of that interview? You understand what I mean by tone?
I do not understand.
Okay. Was it hostile and accusatory?
Not that I remember. No.
Was it antagonistic or confrontational?
Can you use different words, please?
Sure. Was he being mean?
No.
Okay. He was being nice, right?
Professional, I'd say.
Because you've known him almost your whole life, right?
Yes.
He was friendly and cordial,
Correct.
and the interview was comfortable.
Say it again.
The interview was comfortable.
Correct.
You didn't feel like you were on the hot seat.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Did you find that the interview with Michael Proctor was consistent with the relationship that you've had with him your whole life? Meaning, he's always been friendly to you. He was just as friendly in that conversation.
Not really, no.
How is he different?
I'd say more professional.
Okay. Obviously, he was doing a job, correct?
Correct.
But when you walked in, you recognized him.
Yes.
He recognized you.
Yes.
You made natural greetings with one another, correct?
Correct.
Questioned you about a few things.
Correct.
He didn't look at your phone. He didn't ask to take your phone away from you.
No.
He didn't ask to seize your phone or seize any other physical items from you.
No.
You weren't asked to come down to the police station and sit in an interview room or an interrogation room, were you?
No.
Matter of fact, where did the conversation take place for those 10 minutes?
In the DA's office on Shawmut Road.
DA's office on Shawmut Road. Who else was there other
In Canton.
than Trooper Proctor and his partner at the time, Trooper Clark?
Can you
Who else
rephrase?
was there? Was it just Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, and Clark?
Yes.
Okay, so it was just the three of you.
Yes.
And Trooper Proctor was the one that was sort of leading the conversation.
Yes.
And then when it was done, he said, "You're free to go."
Correct.
And he didn't take your phone.
Nope.
He didn't ask you to look at any text messages.
Nope.
He didn't look through your phone.
Nope.
He didn't take any screenshots or videos of your phone or the contents of your phone.
Nope.
Just let you walk out the door.
Correct.
Your Honor, may I publish the photo?
Why don't you come over here for just 1 second?
May I have that, please?
Must be nice to have a treatment like that with, you get treated with kid gloves and that, oh, it's okay. It's, if don't worry about it. Just tell them at this time. Just say everything happened very professional, okay? It's very professional. And if you get confused, just ask if you can use different words or if you can speak English
Right.
or
Exactly. I thought this would be a short sidebar. Let me see if I can forward us here. There we go. Commercial. I don't think we'll be seeing Aaron in court this trial.
well, she's still on the witness list. So
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
true.
I mean, I think they still got to call her to get establish
Yeah,
like what happened that morning.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, Jackson's back, but it's hard. It's tricky to get.
I don't.
Let me ask it a different way. You testified at a different proceeding, not this trial, but a different proceeding.
Correct.
Okay, you were put under oath. You appeared with your lawyer. You gave testimony, and that's part of what you looked at a second.
Correct.
But when you met with Michael Proctor, you did not feel the need to take an attorney with you. It was just you, Michael Proctor, and Investigator Clark, correct?
Objection.
That's sustained.
You were asked yesterday about certain texts with your cousin, Allie, correct?
Correct.
Allie is obviously family,
Yes.
but she's more than family. She's also a good friend of yours.
Correct.
As a matter of fact, she's one of your best friends.
Correct.
And at your age, this is not meant to be pejorative, but we're different generations. At your age, you're most convenient way of communicating is through text messages, correct?
Correct.
I mean, if you're gonna grab a buddy and say, let's meet at the such and such ball field or whatever, you're gonna text him, probably not call him.
Either or.
Okay, but texting is pretty common between you and your friends.
Yes.
Texting is certainly common between you and Alan. We've already seen evidence of that, right?
Yes.
And that's generally how you like to communicate with Alan.
I'd say so, yeah.
In fact, when you reached out to her for a ride, there were like 8 text messages back and forth just for a pickup, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, just move your arm.
Sure.
May I approach your arm?
Yes.
This is a copy of 81. I just want you to have that in front of you. Your Honor, with the court's permission, please place Exhibit 81 on the screen.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I approach? I need to use the Elmar instead of.
Okay. Is there an objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
May I have that back?
I thought you meant approach over here. Do you want the Commonwealth to pull it? Mr. Jackson, do you want the Commonwealth to pull it up for you?
That'd
You'd be happy to, Your Honor. It's fine.
be great.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman.
May I approach the witness? Just to
Yes.
mark up?
Since when has your mom been so carefree?
Enjoy the confidence.
Okay. You see what's displayed on the screen?
Yes.
It's only part of the text string, but does that look like it's an accurate representation of what you're looking at?
Yes.
And this is a series of texts on or about January 28th and 29th of 2022. Is that right?
Yes.
And Mr. Albert, you needed something as simple as a ride. You were just asking Allie to give you a ride. Is that right?
Yes.
And that's because you said that it's common for you guys to text back and forth. You just texted her, hey, you can get me now. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you texted if it's easier. And then she said, okay, I'm dropping people off. And there was an exchange back and forth. Is that right?
Yeah.
And there were at least 8 texts between the two of you, if you just count them up real quick, just about getting picked up.
Yeah.
But if you scroll down a little bit, after the end of that text string, that ends at 12:10 a.m. and it says okay. You see the next date?
Yes.
What date is that?
February 20th.
That's nearly a month later, correct?
Correct.
So there was a gap after January 29th, 2022, when you found out that a man had ended up dead on your uncle's lawn. And you and Allie did not text each other for a month, not once.
Objection.
Sustained is to that form. Ask it differently.
Isn't it true that on January 29th, later in the day, you found out about John O'Keefe and his condition, the fact that he died?
Objection.
Is that true? Did you find out that day?
Yes.
Okay.
So you were well aware of, we can take that down. You were well aware, Mr. Albert, that something very tragic had happened at your uncle's house, Brian Albert's house, right?
Correct.
And you were aware that you had been at your uncle's house that night, right?
Correct.
You're also aware that, according to you, Allie McCabe was the one that picked you up and took you from that location.
Correct.
And notwithstanding the fact of this tragedy, you and Allie didn't text each other one time for a month. Is that right?
I don't think that's correct.
What do you guys think of that? I remember from the first trial, that was like made no sense, right? That was not right. Because if you're innocent, if you've done nothing wrong, if Karen Reed hit John O'Keefe with her car, why would you have to stop texting your cousin who you're BFFs with in high school? Right? I always thought that was really smart of Jackson to point that out. And what do you guys think of that? Yeah, I love MCAT. She says, "Who died and made alibi the Canton Uber?" Exactly. That's really, really true. And then super sauce, no text for a month. Come on. Yeah, that there's no reason for that. Like, why would you tell your kids because obviously they didn't come up with that on their own. They were told by the parents, you know, you guys need to lay off the communications. Why? They're innocent. They're innocent high school kids, correct? They've done nothing wrong. So that to me is a big red flag, a big red flag. Julie says, I can't believe this wasn't looked into a little more. Then again, there are so many things that are worse that were let in, like Higgy handpicking his messages. Yeah, absolutely, Julie. And MCAT just says, so Susk. And then MCAT, Higgy cherry picking messages. I want to see that Matt. Yes, on the stand for sure. Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Is he on the list? Do we know?
I think so. Yeah, that name sounds familiar. I wasn't sure who that was, but then said FBI. I was like, oh, that must be the guy that helped Higgy with the kiosk or whatever.
I haven't had a lot of time to go back through that list. It's like 90 people now on each, way more than the last trial. They each have
there's way more. Yeah, there's a lot more for the defense too. But yeah, like this piece, and I know that there was some criticism about it too, about how it's strange how it doesn't correspond. It's like, well, how do you know that wasn't the message to say, hey, come pick me up to bring me to 34 Fairview? And then like the numbers are skewed, because that would make more sense. And then to have it all blanked out, and then to have Jen McCabe say, oh, I deleted messages from my children because those are my children, and you don't need that. And then to have Kelleher across the street say, yeah, we looked at the ring video, but you know what, it was unremarkable, there was nothing there, so we just deleted it. We don't need to look at it.
I mean,
but there's so much of that going on.
It's so much. It's just one thing after the other. But I also thought, so the last few weeks, just so you guys know too, if you're not on Twitter X, there's been a lot of people throwing back up this text message and saying that it looks fake, that it looks like it was manipulated, that the year is missing. But then a lot of people come on and say, no, iPhone updates all the time, and that could have been that model that year. But still, it's very sus, right? That's the only that they needed to show that they, oh, here's a copy of we printed this off. We took a screenshot and made a copy here. This proves that Allie picked up Colin. Like, it's like overkill, right?
You don't need to look. We'll give it to you. Yeah, that works all the time. They do that all the time with murder trials and everything else. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So everything between Allie and Colin and her being the alibi is suspect. Even that silly, stupid story about the dog, finding some lost dog and taking it to the police department. Why is that even being told, right?
I still don't get how that factors in, or like what the point of that would be. Like everything that they do had like that covers for something else. What does the dog have to do with a lot of this?
I thought about like wanting to, I thought about like, could we pull in open records on that? Because if they did truly drop a lost dog off, what? What'd you say?
Bob doesn't like FOIAs. He got very upset and went very dramatic on FOIAs.
But it'd be interesting to pull one on Canton and see if we could get that, because if she did drop a dog off and they took in a dog, there has to be a report for that. There has to at least be a deposition. You can't just have a dog dropped off at a police department and not have it on record somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, maybe we should do that. Maybe I should do that this week just for the hell of it, like shits and giggles. Like, why was that even mentioned? Why was that a big deal?
And it's so random.
Kathy and I were my friend Kathy and I were chatting about the whole Allie picking him up thing too. And I don't remember, Kath, if you're still on with us in the chat a couple weeks ago, but we were talking about how, her 360 shows that she was behind the high school, and why would she be there, right? And so we were like talking about how, well, maybe Colin hoofed it from, 34 Fairview, because this is not a big town, guys, and walked to the high school, and that's where she picked him up. Maybe she never came to the house. Maybe he got the heck out of Dodge and walked from the house over to the high school, and that was their rendezvous spot, right? Let's see here.
Something like that.
Says FOIA, stray dog report, ESP, because alibi allegedly drove dog home. It's like, what? Wait. Oh, drove dog home. I thought she took the dog and turned it into the Canton PD that night.
That's what I think. Yeah, it was Caitlin that supposedly brought Chloe, and it was Allie who brought the dog. Because I thought it was Allie who brought Chloe. It was like, no. Allie found a random dog. It was like, where the crap did that come from?
Right. Everybody, I think everybody thinks that Caitlin took Chloe home after the whole thing went down, and that Allie was the driver to get Colin the heck out of there. And then this stray dog that they find and take to the PD, that it doesn't even make any sense, really. So who knows if that was even just made up, but Julie's texting about her Bruins. The Bruins have $500,000
God
sieve in the net.
So bad.
MCAT says he may have run after beating John up. Yeah, or they told him to, like, get the heck out of here and have your cousin come pick you up and take you home. Who knows? Like,
I don't know. Was freaked out, and I think he started crying.
Oh, God only knows. Yeah,
Probably.
yeah. MCAT says I may have that wrong, but I thought Allie took dog back to owner. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure, MCAT, but I'm going to look into that, because I find that to be a really interesting little thing going on there. I always thought that was strange, and just didn't seem to be like necessary, or why was it even brought up, right? So, okay, let's keep going. Oh, Kathy said, I never heard that anyone took Chloe anywhere until she was rehomed. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's the story. Supposedly she was upstairs, sound asleep, and, heard all this noise and didn't stir.
Right. Because everybody was saying, how in the world does a German Shepherd, who was a prior police dog, not going to bark when all that chaos is taking place in the front yard, with all the cars pulling up, and their bedroom window is so close to where all of that action would have been going on. There's no dog is sleeping through that, much less a former police dog. So that's how that all.
A former police dog. I think Chloe came from somewhere else. That I don't know about, but still, even like shepherds. Like, I have a shepherd down here, and the dog woofs at everything that, like, every leaf that blows by, you hear him.
Well, some dogs are quieter than others, but I don't buy it that Chloe did not even bark once. And Jen came, like MCAT just said. I was just about to say it, MCAT. You totally read my mind. Yep. Jen came bursting into the bedroom, and Chloe was still sleeping in. No, hell no. So I really think, because Jen made it very clear, I came bursting into the bedroom. It wasn't like I came tiptoeing into the bedroom so I wouldn't wake up the German Shepherd. It's nothing like that. So, Kathy, to answer your question again, that's what everybody was surmising, that Caitlin took the dog home so that it wouldn't be there in the morning when they knew all the police were going to show up. That's just what people, now we don't know. That's just a theory, right? That's just a theory. So, okay, back we go.
So where are those texts?
We text on other platforms too. So I'd say other apps.
So is there a reason why you decided for the next month to just switch platforms to maybe Snapchat?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No reason.
Are you sure that you switched platforms?
I'd say so, yeah.
Why did you switch platforms?
We go back and forth, I'd say, between platforms texting.
You switch platforms because you know that Snapchat deletes all communications, correct?
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Do you know that Snapchat has an auto-delete function on it?
If your app is set to that, yes.
Your app was set to that, wasn't it?
I do not remember that.
So again, your memory is failing you.
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Once again, your memory is failing you. You just don't remember.
Objection.
Oh my God.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Isn't it true, Mr. Albert,
Jackson?
What was that?
that you either switched platforms or deleted the texts because you did not want your text communications with Allie McCabe to be discovered?
Objection.
Overruled.
Is that right?
Oh,
That's not
wait,
true.
pause.
So where are those
Wait,
communications?
let's go. Everybody get a
What
drink.
happened?
Wait,
happened?
get champagne. Everyone, wait, we have to rewind. She actually said what she said. Let's rewind. We must hear this.
What happened? Do we have to
Everyone
celebrate?
listen.
What happened?
Everyone listen really closely. I'm going to go back about 1 minute.
All right, Nagel Blob. Let's listen. Let's listen.
Whatever my fingers can roll, but I might have to go back a little further because it's very not a perfect science to go backward.
Platforms?
I'd say so, yeah.
Why did you switch platforms?
We go back and forth, I'd say, between platforms texting.
You switched platforms because you know that Snapchat deletes all communications, correct?
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Do you know that Snapchat has an auto delete function on it?
If your app is set to that, yes.
Your app was set to that, wasn't it?
I do not remember that.
So again, your memory is failing you.
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Once again, your memory is failing you. You just
Objection.
don't remember.
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Isn't it true, Mr. Albert, that you either switched platforms or deleted the texts because you did not want your text communications with Alan McCabe to be discovered?
Objection.
Overruled.
There it was. Did you hear it? Objection
Overruled.
overruled.
Oh,
Oh my
Bev
God.
slipped. Bev slipped.
Oh my God. Alert the media.
Overruled. It's supposed to be
Just
sustained,
alert
Bev.
the fucking media.
It's supposed to be sustained. Look, it was shocked. Shocked.
Oh my God. Is that the only time in the entire freaking trial that Bev said overruled?
Wow.
God, I don't remember that. So when I caught it just now, that's why I said, wait, stop the process. Wait a minute. What is happening? Bev
It's
just
totally effed up.
I know. I just want to I think I'm going to have to clip that. And we're going to have to start every Friday night lies now with objection, overruled, objection, overruled. And you say it, Julie, because you do it way better than me.
What objection? Well, yeah, because usually she does like, can you answer that? Is that the reason why? Is it because it automatically deleted and you didn't want to incriminate yourself and then incriminate me because I'm overseeing this? Nope, just went overruled. I'll allow it like that.
Yeah, I'll allow it. Yeah, and she says it like she
I'll
doesn't
allow it.
really want to. I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys, that was so worth. That was worth.
overruled.
That was worth
for
doing
that
this.
too.
Yes,
Because it
I
said
am.
sustained. Nope, not that one. Wow.
Holy crap. Okay, I'm clipping that. We're starting every Friday Night Lives with that from now on, going all the way through. That I caught it. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I have to stop this. We have to rewind. That was classic. Oh my God. Okay. I hate when she speaks to the witnesses. It makes me nuts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but she's
Can
super.
you?
Yes.
Can you answer that?
Yes, can you answer that? But when she talks to the jury and she's so sugarly, sweetly, oh my God, that's painful. That's just painful. So, oh my God. All right, guys, we'll keep going, but I just had to stop and rewind there. That was too much. That was too much.
Is that right?
That's not true.
So where are those communications?
I do not know.
Can't produce them right now, can you?
Uh-oh.
I'm not sure.
So in the days, hours, and days and weeks following the death of John O'Keefe, your communications with your best friend, Allie, the person who gave you a ride home that night, they're just gone. Right?
I'm not sure.
You testified that you provided Exhibit 81, what we're just looking at and you're still looking at in front of you, as a screenshot of your communications on January 29th, 2022 with Allie McCabe, correct? It was a screenshot.
You say that again? Sorry.
You provided that item as a screenshot, not as an actual text to law enforcement. Is that right?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Do you know what a screenshot is?
Yes.
What's a screenshot?
When you take a picture on your phone.
That's a picture from your phone.
Yes.
Okay, so it is a screenshot.
Yes, it is a screenshot.
Okay, that's my question.
A telephone is a device.
When you met with Michael Proctor in that interview that lasted 10 minutes, Michael Proctor did not get the actual texts underlying that screenshot, did he?
No.
He never looked for those actual texts, did he?
No.
He never asked you for those actual texts, did he?
No.
And you never volunteered to give him those actual texts, did you?
I think I volunteered to, yeah.
On that day?
Oh, no, not on that day, no.
Not on that day. You know what a phone extraction is?
Not familiar.
Okay. Have you ever heard of a phone imaging or a phone extraction or a forensic extraction? Any of those words sound familiar?
Not really, no.
Michael Proctor never asked you, I think it's fair to say now, given that answer, Michael Proctor never asked you if he could do a phone extraction of your cell phone, did he?
No.
He never asked if he could take a forensic image of your phone, did he?
No.
Do you know what metadata is?
Nope.
You know the dates and times. You take a photo on your phone. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time. It'll capture the date and time of the photo. You know that?
Objection.
I'll hear this answer and it may end your inquiry. Do you know that?
Pretty sure I do, yeah.
Have you ever heard of that data, the dates and times and geolocations? Have you ever heard of that referred to as metadata?
No.
Okay, so I'll just use the word date and time.
Okay.
You know that on your phone, if you pull up a text, you can go behind the text and see the date and time that it was actually sent or received, right?
Yeah.
But on a screenshot, you're left with just what's on the screen. You can't go behind the screenshot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You provided just the screenshot, ultimately, not the actual text, correct?
Correct.
But in September of 2023, Michael Proctor's partner, a man by the name of Yuri Buchnick, you know that name?
Yeah.
He contacted you and said he wanted to talk about your text messages, correct?
I don't remember.
Do you remember that you told Yuri Buchnick when he asked about the text messages, you did not have the screenshot anymore. You sent it to your father, Chris.
I don't remember that.
Do you recall telling Yuri Buchnick if he wanted to get the screenshot, you weren't going to give it to him. He'd have to get it from your dad.
Do not remember that.
You remember Trooper Buchnick agreeing with you and saying, sure, I'll just call your dad and get it from him.
Don't remember that.
You don't remember you certainly don't remember ever giving Trooper Buchnick a copy of that screenshot.
No, I don't remember.
Because you didn't, did you?
I do not remember.
But you did give it to your dad, right?
I do not remember.
Do you remember anything about this case?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll withdraw.
That was a good one. Do you remember anything
To this day,
about
you've
this
never
case?
been required to present your phone to any law enforcement agent, have you?
Nope.
It was never imaged. It was never downloaded.
Nope.
You still have the same phone?
Yes.
That's interesting.
If you had the actual texts on your phone, why did you provide law enforcement with just a screenshot?
Exactly.
I'll allow that.
I'm not sure.
Because your parents
Allow that.
did it for you, right?
Oh, is that why? Okay.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it wasn't his idea.
Yeah,
You
that
showed a
doesn't make
photo
sense.
yesterday
Right.
of you in February of 2022 with your aunt. Remember that photo? Mr. Lally showed you that photo,
Correct.
and he said he wanted you to pay special attention to your face and hands and extremities. Asked you if there was anything unusual about that.
Yes.
You said no. In that photo, absolutely nothing unusual in February 2022 about you, your face, your hands, fists, nothing, right?
Correct.
I want to draw your attention to February 26th, same month, less than a month after the incident. You were at a place called Fenway Johnny's with your buddies, weren't you?
Correct.
Your Honor, I have 2 documents I'd like to mark for identification with the court's permission to show to Mr. Lally.
Okay.
1 and 2.
MCAT, you're encouraging my crush on Alan Jackson right now. I tried to get over it. I've been working on it.
Thank you.
Yes, Yannetti too. I have a separate kind of crush on Yannetti, different than Jackson.
Okay.
Present these to the witness.
Yes.
May we approach?
I may as well see them. I'll end up seeing them.
I might as well.
They just approached.
MCAT says
No.
I have a real thing for Yannetti, but my husband rolls his eyes. I love it, MCAT. You remind us that your husband reminds you that you're not a lawyer.
Oh yeah, that's right. I have court. I like that. I have court.
You got to come on the platform sometime, MCAT. You seriously do. You and your husband have to come on the platform so we can meet you and say hi. MCAT says, there's no getting over it, girl. I also have a crush on Mr. Reed. Oh, that's sweet. I have a crush on Mr. Reed. I do not have a crush on Mr. Reed, but I feel for him, for everything he and Mrs. Reed have been through. And I feel for the O'Keefes too. I mean, they've had major trauma in their lives. It will be very interesting, won't it? I mean, I'm not going to fast forward. I don't think this sidebar is very long. It will be very interesting to see if when this all is said and done, and it's finally proven what really happened to John that night, will Paul, will Mom O'Keefe, I think the dad has pretty much told us with his own, facial expressions and his in and out of court. But I don't know, it's hard to say, but will the family come forward and then just say, we were bamboozled, we were fooled, we were lied to? Will they do that? It'll be very interesting to see when this finally if it all comes out. I mean, guys, there is a very real possibility that Karen Reed will get acquitted because there is no way 12 people are going to agree that there is, 100% that Karen did this. So it just can't happen. Hung jury was weird and should have never happened either. So I am a little nervous, but because the evidence was completely just ruined and there's no chain of evidence, there was no crime scene protection, there was no interviewing of witnesses in a timely manner, I don't know that they'll ever be able to prove who actually struck John and gave him that fatal blow to the back of the head, whether he fell and hit his head on something in that basement or he got hit over the head with something. I mean, this is all theory and speculation. But we may never know. There may not be an arrest. John O'Keefe may not get justice. I hate to be the bearer of bad news because it seems like everybody's so positive about this justice that's coming for John. I don't know. I'm not sure about it. For the same reason,
that's not the case.
I hope I'm wrong too, but guys, somebody's going to have to flip. Somebody's going to have to tell the truth. And if they don't have any evidence right now to go to arrest anybody.
And there's no pressure on anybody. Like I know, like a lot of like the antis and whatever this is, they're like, oh, like they make a big joke. They're like, oh, indictments are coming because so and so flipped and this, and they're like, well, who's going to say something? Well, no one's going to say anything because there isn't pressure. How do you get pressure? You have to have a law enforcement agency, pushing back and questioning these people. Half of these people didn't get questioned until a year and a half later.
Right.
So, I mean, you start squeezing, then shit's gonna get real. But so far, nothing. So
right.
But I hope that's not the case. John O'Keefe deserves better than this.
Well, I hope it's not the case too, but it's just not looking good from my police officer perspective. MCAT says her husband's never coming on the show. Okay, so I guess I'll have to meet him at an Iowa-Wisconsin game then, MCAT. That's my only chance to meet Mr. MCAT. And then MCAT says that Mr. O'Keefe lives in Braintree, Mrs. O'Keefe lives in Canton. Okay, that's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Yeah,
they're all over the place. Yeah, and now she's telling us that Aaron O'Keefe is still in West Bridgewater. Case in Canton. Well, and I saw somebody posting the other day that don't fool yourself. POK is still laying his head down in West Bridgewater. And that's very possible. And that's really none of our business. Whether they work out their marriage or not does not matter to me one iota. And it's not anything we care to comment about or talk about, because it's their own personal business, and that's not ours. So, but thank you. It's an interesting, because it's happened in the case, but we can talk about it, but we don't want to lean into it. Right. Because I feel, I don't think Erin's at all a bad person. And I think there's nothing they could do. This happened to their family. When things happen to your family, you're just you're just along for the ride. And whether you support your family or you go against them, that this type of thing tears families apart all the time. Wow, this was a bar. I think I'm going to go and forward it, because I don't know how much longer they're going to take. Oh, here we go. Let me try to get it. It's hard to get it right on. Here we go. I think it's going to happen.
So you're putting it in evidence before you display it?
Sure. May I approach one more time?
Yes.
Surround.
Exactly, MCAT. We agree with you too. They're human beings, and they all deserve some form of happiness after all this tragedy.
Those two documents.
Yes.
Taking a look at the one that's got multiple documents on it, I don't want you to tell me what's on it. Just tell me if you recognize the picture that's in the middle to the right.
Yes.
Okay. And then looking at the second document, which I believe is marked EE for identification at this point, does that appear to be a true and accurate enlargement of the first thumbnail?
Yes.
And those were taken on that photo was taken on February 26, 2022.
Yes.
At the place called, I think it's called Fenway Giants, right?
Correct.
May I publish the...
Put it into evidence first.
Move for the admission of just EE.
So you need to get it to the court reporter.
I'm sorry, just FF? May I approach?
Yes.
EE or FF?
FF.
Okay, give it to Madam Court Reporter to put the exhibit number on it.
The exhibit 85 and on it.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ladies over 180 pounds, start your 7-minute indoor walking routine for cortisol detox. In 1 week, you'll feel better. In 2 weeks, you'll look better. In 4 weeks, your besties won't believe.
You see that photograph that's being displayed?
Yes.
Are you in that photograph?
Yes.
Which person are you?
In the middle.
And about what time of day was it? That's you in the middle?
Correct.
Okay. About what time of day was this taken?
Not sure.
Was it at an event of some sort, or just you were at a bar?
Just at a bar.
Okay. I want you to take a look at your right hand. Can you see from there clearly your right hand?
Yes.
What do you notice about your right hand?
It's cut up.
Your knuckles are injured, correct?
Correct.
Now, you didn't take this photo, did you?
Nope.
That photo was never on your phone. In other words, it wasn't a friend of yours that took the photo, correct?
No.
This was taken by an event staff member, is that right?
Correct.
It was later posted on social media, isn't that right?
Correct.
You could not access the metadata. You couldn't access the time and date of that photo, correct?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
You couldn't manipulate the time or date this photo was taken?
No.
This photo is completely sort of out of your control, isn't that right?
Correct.
And it was controlled by the event staff at Fenway Johnny's.
Correct.
And on February 26th, less than a month after the incident at Fairview, that's what your right knuckles look like, correct?
Correct.
And this is a true and accurate depiction of your condition on or about February 26th, correct?
Correct.
How'd you get those injuries, Mr. Albert? We can pull the lights up.
I was at a party, a house party my senior year, and I remember it being icy out, and it was kind of like a steep hill of a driveway, and I was walking up the driveway and I slipped down the driveway and I tried to catch myself, but I had something in my left hand, so I had tried to brace myself with my right hand, and I ended up sliding a little bit down the driveway.
What'd you have in your left hand?
If I remember, it was either my phone or a beverage.
So according to you, you fell on ice and injured your knuckles, as we just saw in that photograph, right across the top of your knuckles.
Correct.
So you fell onto what, pavement, asphalt?
Yes.
And you braced yourself when you fell, your entire body weight, by putting your right hand down in a fist, and you injured your right fist, just the top of the knuckles on your right fist when you fell down.
Correct.
Seriously?
Objection,
Yeah,
Your
I
Honor.
felt like a monkey and dragged my knuckles along the
Did you
ground.
put your palms down when you fell?
I think that is
No.
one of the best
Your
ever.
entire body weight on your
Seriously?
right fist and just injured the top portion of your knuckles, correct?
Correct.
Those injuries to your knuckles look an awful lot like the type of injuries that you would get in a
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You ever been in a fight, sir?
Other than with my brothers, no.
You've never been in a fight
Nope.
your entire
I don't
life.
know why he's lying.
Other than with my brothers, no.
Never hurt your knuckles before.
Has to lie. It's so easy. He knows
Not sure what you
the
mean.
media world.
hurt your
It's
knuckles
easy
in
to
a fight.
disprove.
No.
And in this case, when you fell down on the asphalt, it was only the top four knuckles of your right hand, correct?
Correct.
You right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
You box?
Nope.
I'm sorry, you don't box?
Nope.
You've never boxed?
Never.
What? Wait a minute.
You ever practiced boxing?
I've hit the bag for like cardio, but
Yeah, see?
other than that, no.
Okay.
When you hit the bag, is that considered boxing?
I wouldn't say so. Not
It's not jumping
really.
rope, is it, Mr. Albert?
No.
It's not doing curls.
Nope.
Not doing push-ups or calisthenics.
Nope.
It's hitting a bag, correct?
Yeah.
That's boxing, right?
I'd say yeah.
Yeah. When that photograph was taken at Fenway Johnny's, those knuckles looked like they had been re-injured from a prior injury. No?
No.
Just falling on the asphalt.
Correct.
Any other cuts or scrapes from that terrible fall on the asphalt?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll rephrase it. Any other cuts or scrapes or injuries from that fall?
I don't remember.
Just your right knuckles.
Yeah.
You said you've never been in a fight before.
Nope.
Did you post a video? You threatened that you're going to.
Objection, Your Honor.
The objection sustained. I'll see you at sidebar on this.
Yeah, we
Familiar
knew that
with
was
this.
coming.
No,
Lally, you could
Jesus
just hear the
Christ.
disgust in Lally's voice, right?
Okay, wait. All right. So I'm not sure if I missed this. What's the date of the knuckle picture?
Yeah, I
Did he
saw
say?
that. I don't think he did. And I'm trying to remember because I found it for the thumbnail. Let me see if I can look that up. Give me a second here. I'll see if I can find that.
Okay. Well, all right. So when Jackson did this and this came out the first time, I looked and I was like, wait a minute. If he so Jackson does all this and then at the end he says, "Oh, do you ever hit a bag?" And he says, "Yeah." And that's why I said, wait a minute, because I have a bag and I have gloves, but there were like I think 2 times that I hit it without gloves for maybe like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it tore the shit out of my knuckles. And it and it basically looks like that. So I mean, like I get what he's saying that it looks like he re-injured his knuckles from
Right.
boxing, and there was somebody else online who looked and said, "Oh, that's an old injury. If this is like, I don't know if this is like a month afterwards, but they said that if that was the knuckle damage from the fight on January 29th, that would have been healed. This is new knuckle damage from hitting the bag, because that does tear the shit out of your skin." So I don't know
think
why
that's
he's doing
why
it.
he asked him.
But also,
Right,
why is he lying? Like, just
Right,
say, "Oh, I hit the bag, tore up my knuckles." The end.
Right. He said something about, MCAT says he said something about a house party his senior year in high school. Right. And he was a senior in high school that winter. But if he had hurt his knuckles the night that John died, and then they maybe started to heal, and then he got in another fight, or he hit the bag and reopened them. So I think that's where Jackson was going to try to get him to say that he boxes, because then that would explain his roughed up knuckles, that he was boxing. But then he says, "No, I don't box. I haven't boxed."
I know, he plays right into it. It's like, what are you doing, kid? Like,
exactly.
Are you really that stupid?
Yeah, I don't know. All right, let me go forward. I have to run puppy out, and I did see this part. So I've seen it. I've watched Colin's testimony a bunch of times. So I'm just going to run puppy out and let you handle any chit chat that goes on, and I'm going to forward this back to.
Got it.
Here we go. I think
and then Mr. Jackson will ask you questions, and then Mr. Lally will ask you questions. Then I'll hear from the lawyers, and then I'll take a break, and you'll get a break before we go back. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you have a
Why
lawyer
is she
present?
explaining it?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Okay, see, the way
All right.
court works is I
So
sit
the
here and
first
make
one,
me chair.
both on they're separate. All right. So let's mark them each for identification.
The one I'm holding in my right
With
hand.
no special numbering system.
Advantage.
Okay.
That would be GG for identification.
Thank you.
Good luck. The one in my left hand, with the court's permission, this is, I'll call this Bang Bang.
Bang, bang.
GG for identification.
All right. Thank you.
This is classic. I've literally watched this
All right,
probably
so
like
play
3 times.
GG first, please.
Bang, bang.
Your advantage boys, I will beat all your asses. I promise you, I will fuck you all up. Pull up, bitch.
Yeah, bang, bang.
Okay. And the next one, please.
You're a bitch, bro. Fuck you. Fuck you, pussy. Be cool, boy. You be knocked out. KO. Bang, bang.
Yeah, bang, bang.
Okay.
My favorite is when he calls them salty. He says, "Oh, they were getting salty."
May I inquire, Your Honor?
Yes.
What are
I'm
you,
gonna
a
take
teenage girl?
those two videos one at a time. I'm gonna call one the advantage boys and one the Bang Bang. For purposes of my questioning, Mr. Albert, specifically regarding the advantage boys video, did you recognize it?
Yes.
How did you recognize it?
What do you mean by
How do
that?
you recognize it? Is that you?
Yes.
Okay. When was that taken?
Maybe my sophomore year in high school. Around.
Where were you?
I don't remember. Where.
So your sophomore year in high school, that's about 3 or 4 years ago?
God, his head's gonna pop off.
Yeah, around.
You indicated
20
on
minus
cross-examination, you've never been in a fight.
No.
Indicating that you have no violent tendencies and no violent proclivities, right?
Nope.
What were you saying on that video?
That I would beat them up.
Did you say you would beat them up, or did you say, I will fuck you up?
Getting mad.
I said I will F you up.
No, you didn't say, I will F you up. What did you actually say?
That I would
mad.
fuck them up.
You also said something about beating somebody's ass, right?
Correct.
What did that mean?
That I would beat them up.
So when you said, I will fuck you up and I will beat your ass, was that a friendly invitation?
No.
That was a threat, correct?
No
I don't know if
objection?
I would call it a threat.
Don't?
I'm not sure.
someone walks up to you, I'm not going to do it, but if someone did, walked up to you and said, I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. You wouldn't take that as a threat?
If they walked up to me, yeah.
But if they didn't walk up and just shouted it across the street and stood there and said, I will fuck you up, I will beat your ass, that's not a threat.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you are sure, sir.
All right, so that I'll strike at the Commonwealth
No
standard.
commenting.
Objecting.
Were you threatening these Advantage boys, guys, whoever they are?
Yeah, kinda.
Were you threatening them with violence?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. In the second video, you said, fuck you a number of times. And then you said, KO, you said, pull up, KO, bang, bang. Right?
Correct.
Explain that to me.
I'm not sure. Like, explain what I said.
Is that a threat?
Yeah.
Pull up, bitch. Right?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Those same Advantage kids.
Got it. So you're threatening them yet again a second time.
Yeah.
What does pull up mean?
Like, come by.
Yeah, meaning get over here.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Because when you do, I'm going to fuck you up. Right?
Yeah.
Meaning I'm going to fight you and I'm going to put you down. Correct?
Correct.
That was your threat to them.
Correct.
Can we get a time on this second one?
Of course. When was the second one, the bang bang threat made? Before or after the Advantage boys?
I'm not sure.
After?
Might have been the same night. I really don't know.
Well, you're dressed completely differently, so it's probably not the same night. You would agree with that?
Unless I could have changed my shirt. I do that often.
Okay. So you changed your shirt on the same night. You just decided to threaten the guys twice. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
Was it around the same time frame?
Around, yeah.
All right. The fact of the matter is, Mr. Albert, you do like to fight, don't you?
Nope.
The fact of the matter is, you showed up at another hearing, at another proceeding, to testify, and you showed up with busted knuckles then too, didn't you?
I do not remember.
He did? Oh.
July 27th, 2023. Do you remember being at another hearing?
Yes.
Do you remember being questioned by some attorneys?
Yes.
Do you remember the question about the condition of your fist literally at the hearing?
Yeah.
It was obvious to the person that was questioning you that you had an injury to your fist, correct?
Objection.
Well, that's the statement.
I'll rephrase that. My apologies, Your Honor. You were asked questions by the questioner about the condition, the physical condition of your fist, weren't you?
Correct.
And you claimed at that time, well, let me back up for a second and ask a different question. They were asking because you had open injuries on your right knuckles yet again, didn't you?
Correct.
You said, I must have been hitting a heavy bag, right?
Yeah.
Boxing again.
Hit in the bag, yeah.
Just working out, right?
Yep.
Didn't have any injuries on your left hand, though, did you?
No.
How many times have you hit a heavy bag?
I'm not sure.
How many times have you worked out with a heavy bag? That's an unfair question. I'll ask a better one. How many times have you worked out on a heavy bag?
I'm not sure.
When you work out on a heavy bag, you wrap your hands, don't you?
I do not know.
I see. So only your right hand gets injured
But
over
only
and
one.
over
Yeah,
and
that's a good
over and
point.
over again. Not your left hand.
I'm not sure.
Even though you punch in the bag with both hands.
I'm not sure.
Yet again, you're right-handed, aren't you?
Yes.
I'm not
Go ahead,
sure.
your-
That's just
your hardest
classic.
punch. That's with your right fist, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Is that right?
I would say they have equal. They're equal. I don't know. Not sure.
Happened to freeze? Did I freeze? No, I'm still there.
Sorry guys, I couldn't get it to my my mute button was sticking again. I just wanted to say, Julie, you've hit a heavy bag, and maybe some other people here in live and replay. When you watch someone do it on TV in the movies, or if you watch soap operas or whatever you watch, and it's, you see them right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. It's never just right.
Nope.
So
that's a fight. That's a fight. Street fight.
Right. It's just absurd that he would expect us to believe, right, that he's just hitting the heavy bag only with his right knuckles, right? It's just absurd. Okay.
I mean, Rocky did it, but he was training to be right-handed instead of southpaw. So.
Oh, right. Well, sure. I mean, I'm sure there's
that's in the movies. But that's in the movies.
That's the movies, and also maybe even so, maybe in boxing, if you're doing a specific technique, maybe you would be doing a left or a right. But he's just a kid who messes around on the heavy bag. He's not just hitting it with his right hand.
This kid doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah,
that's not logical.
Right?
All right, I think we're gonna get Lally back. We didn't watch Lally, but I think we're about to get
Mr. Lally.
Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who doesn't need a good dose of Lally on a Thursday night?
Mr. Albert,
oh, there goes the national anthem at him.
There's the national. I don't know what it is, but those sirens in the background are very eerie to me. It's almost like John is calling from the heavens.
When those videos were made, you were a sophomore in high school, is that right?
Around that, yeah.
How old were you when you were a sophomore in high school?
16 years old.
And so that would have been at least a couple years before January of 2022, correct?
Yeah.
And as far as
hey everyone, big heads up, Paleo Valley's running a sale on all their meat sticks right now. You can get 30 sticks for $36, which comes out to $1.20.
All right.
within those videos, well, as far as timing, so those videos were around the same time, both sort of same time period within your sophomore year?
Correct.
And relatively close to each other, is that correct?
Correct.
And who or what is an advantage?
It's a club hockey team.
Who or what?
And
That's hilarious.
What, if any, relationship did you have with that club hockey team?
None.
And so, as far as what videos you were made and sending, were there any videos from that group that were made and sent to you?
Text messages.
And with regard to those text messages, generally speaking, what do they say?
Just name calling me and my friends, calling us like pussies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this was sort of a back and forth, is that correct?
Correct.
And do you even play hockey?
Nope.
And were these people around your age at that time?
Yeah.
And were they kids from the same town or different?
I don't even know where they're from.
Did you even really know these kids or what the names were or anything like that?
Not at all.
And
big threats.
was there ever any sort of physical fight or even a physical interaction with these other kids?
Never.
Did you ever even meet them face to face?
Never.
And with regard to Mr. O'Keefe, your neighbor who lived at the top of the street when you lived at Seven Meadows, you ever threaten him?
Never.
Did he ever threaten you?
Never.
Did you ever have any sort of back and forth exchange similar to what was up on the screen?
Never.
I have nothing further on that.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I very briefly? You indicated, Mr. Albert, that this was your sophomore year in high school. But you were asked that exact same question under oath, the time frame of these videos in that other hearing, weren't you?
I believe so, yes.
You indicated under oath in that hearing that it looked like it was your junior or senior year in high school, correct?
Maybe I'm not sure.
Not sure.
Exactly what I said.
Your senior year would have been what year, sir?
Yeah, guys, did you pick up on that too? Because I had written that down that he said senior year. I'm like, no, wait, that's not right. He wasn't a senior, right? When Right. So I was going to ask you guys if you caught that. So let's see what he has to say.
He also said
2022,
that
21,
the
22.
threat was the same night because he changes his shirt all the time.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yep.
Ridiculous.
Same year John O'Keefe died.
Correct.
They have Maria.
Yes.
That's all I have at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, I will hear you.
Your Honor, if we could make the argument outside the presence of the witness.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask you to step out of the
Wait, I forget this part.
I
What were
did
they
too.
doing?
I don't remember.
Huh.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you cannot hear in that background.
No problem. I appreciate you
Was that-
giving us
was
the
that
opportunity. Your Honor, it's very clear that these videos are highly, highly relevant, given the sanitized.
Oh, she was trying to make her decision if she was letting these videos in or not.
Wait, which videos?
Testimony that this
Didn't she
witness
just
has
show them?
tried to.
The bang bang videos.
Oh, are they not in front of the jury?
I don't think so.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so, because I think that's what this was all about, right? That they were trying. Let's just listen through it, because again, this has been a long time for all of us. But yeah, there was question about whether Judge Bev was going to let these videos in or not. The two of them, Bang Bang and Advantage Boys,
to present to this jury. He's indicated that he's never been in a fight. He doesn't have any violent proclivities. He doesn't have any violent tendencies. It's not in his countenance to do this. Mr. Lally opened this
So
door.
you only got that through the voir dire.
Understood.
Okay, so the violent tendencies only came in through the voir dire.
Well, that's not true. But in front of the jury, he said, "I've never been in a fight."
Okay, but that specific question, you said violent tendencies, it was unobjected to, but that was voir dire.
Understood. Mr. Lally clearly opened this door yesterday. He presented a photograph or a series of photographs with this witness's family. His arm draped over his aunt. He's with his mom, looking very, very family-oriented, etc. And Mr. Lally went further than that and specifically said, "I want you to take a look at your face, your hands."
Hi, Amanda. Welcome.
Do you see anything
I love your
unusual or,
emoji.
Odd about that? That's why I believe the court allowed, based on the testimony today, allowed the photograph.
Good morning. He
February
looks
of,
high. Yeah, I thought so too.
2022 of
Where
the
they
actual
drugged him
photo
to
that-
make him
that
calm
cannot
on the
be
stand and not
manipulated.
lose his
It's in the
temper.
hands of a third party of the busted and injured knuckles on this witness's right hand. He then said, "I've never been in a fight." Those two videos belie that testimony. There is no way to look at those two videos and say, this is not relevant to the issue of whether or not he has been in a fight.
But tell me how whether he's been in a fight is relevant to an issue in this case. That's what you have to do.
Because the
Are
police
you kidding
should
me?
have, the Massachusetts State Police should have, if they were doing their due diligence, they should have investigated this young man. They should have investigated every single person that was in that house, in or around the home where John O'Keefe was found, the Albert home, and they didn't. They did nothing to investigate whether or not there was someone in the house who tended to fight, who wanted to get in physical altercations, who had a propensity to get in physical altercations.
There are 3 simple changes I tell all of my arthritis patients to make. Number 1, you have to start drinking more water.
Who was a fighter by nature, who threatened to fight, who threatened violence. That's what this young man has indicated he does constantly. I'm surprised he didn't show up in this hearing with busted knuckles.
So does this go to your third party culprit defense?
It goes to both. It certainly goes to both, but yes, it also goes to our third party culprit defense as well. This is a focus of, I believe this should be a focus of the juror's attention in terms of, is there a third party who could have done this that evidence points to that may have done this? Absolutely. This evidence, what we now have, points directly in that it's focused in that direction. So yes, both it should have been investigated, and Colin Albert is somebody that the jurors should focus their opinion on or their attention on to determine whether or not he could have or was involved in the death of John O'Keefe.
All right, Mr. Lally.
Yes, Your Honor. Commonwealth would submit did not open the door in reference to this, showing a photograph of someone and what they physically looked like. There was no suggestion. The only questions that were asked about fighting or anything of that nature were by counsel. So counsel thinks he opened his own door. I don't think that's exactly how that works. This is nothing more than rank speculation. It has nothing, bears no relevance whatsoever to this case. You're talking about something that is dated at least a year, if not two, prior to the incidents in this case.
But what if it's as Mr. Jackson pointed out, the prior testimony, his senior year, which is, of course, is much closer?
Well, I think even assuming that, as far as relevance is concerned, Your Honor, there is no evidence here of a fight at all. There is no evidence that this witness was even present at the house at the same time as the victim. There's no evidence of any animus between this witness and the victim. There is no evidence whatsoever, as I stated, that he was even present at the same place at the same time on the night with John O'Keefe, on the night that John O'Keefe was killed. There is no evidence from even these videos of any physical altercation having taken place. So whatever juvenile beef that he and his friends had with individuals from another town, there's no evidence whatsoever of physical altercation. There's no evidence that there's a physical altercation even in this case. So to allow counsel to introduce this purely for prejudicial reasons and to invite the jury to speculate as to what it is essentially does nothing but divert the jury's attention away from the facts of the case and what the evidence of the case is, and more so is just there's no evidence of anything in this case.
Truer words were never spoken.
Yep, you
right,
have a point with that.
Truer words were never spoken. I gotta type this in the chat box. There is no evidence.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, we have to now. We're gonna have to do another clip here. I gotta make notes of this. Truer.
And now we know why Lally was in punishment.
Okay, where I gotta go look where we're at here. Let me timestamp that, you guys. Unbelievable. That's just ridiculous. We are at 134:27. 134:27. I have to. Out of 343, I have to timestamp that too for us, and because that's just a classic, and we'll get a few out of this for sure. I completely forgot, like you guys did, that this even happened. Like I forgot that they made the jury leave and that they did this voir dire of these two videos. But this is, I gotta back this up a second. Lally, you are classic here with that statement.
Two prior to the incidents in this case.
But what if it's as Mr. Jackson pointed out, the prior testimony, his senior year, which is, of course, is much closer?
Well, I think even assuming that, as far as relevance is concerned, Your Honor, there is no evidence here of a fight at all. There is no evidence that this witness was even present at the house at the same time as the victim. There's no evidence of any animus between this witness and the victim. There is no evidence whatsoever, as I stated, that he was even present at the same place at the same time on the night with John O'Keefe, on the night that John O'Keefe was killed. There is no evidence from even these videos of any physical altercation having taken place. So whatever juvenile beef that he and his friends had with individuals from another town, there's no evidence whatsoever of physical altercation. There's no evidence that there's a physical altercation even in this case. So to allow counsel to introduce this purely for prejudicial reasons and to invite the jury to speculate as to what it is essentially does nothing but divert the jury's attention away from the facts of the case and what the evidence of the case is, and more so is just there's no evidence of anything in this case.
Way to go, Lally.
Watch what eggs do to your brain. Take a look at these two brain scans. They both look young, strong, and healthy, but only one of them is young. The other is the brain.
May I give it briefly?
Yes.
In terms of evidence of a fight, I don't know what Mr. Lau is talking about. He says there's no evidence of a fight in this case. John O'Keefe looks like he had been beaten to death. He's got two black eyes, a laceration over his right eye, a laceration over his nose, a giant wound on the back of his head, and he doesn't look like he was hit by a car. He looks like he was in a physical altercation. It's as plain as the nose on your face, and we have evidence that we have witnesses who are going to propound that evidence and present that evidence. So Mr. Lally and the Commonwealth can take whatever position they want to. If they think those injuries are consistent with being hit by a 6,000-pound truck, they can knock themselves out. That is not the state of the case, and they don't get to dictate the state of the facts. The facts speak for themselves. Second, with regard to whether or not Mr. Albert was home that night, or at the home that night in a position to be able to engage in a physical altercation, which, by the way, takes about that long, that is predicated on his own family members covering for him. Every one of the witnesses who testified basically are friends and families of the Alberts. And keep in mind, Your Honor, I don't think it's lost on anybody that Colin Albert was hidden, specifically and intentionally hidden from all of law enforcement for the first several months of this investigation. Nobody was willing to even say he was at the house. That is highly, highly suspicious. Given the gravity of what we have now, I would take an issue with one thing Mr. Lally said. He said this diverts the jurors' attention. I would agree it diverts their attention. It diverts their attention to somebody who possibly could be involved with this, who was not properly investigated. And I'll submit.
Okay. So may I have those two flash drives, please? Yes. No, I was asking them. All right. So I will. Why don't we take a 15-minute recess? I'll look at these and we'll come out.
All right.
Bye, Bev. There's the fan.
Hit the cue the fan. So there we have it. Truer words never spoken by Lally. There is no evidence of anything in this case at all. This is rich. That is just too perfect. All right. So let's go forward, and we won't re-listen with the jury, and we'll just continue to go forward because we're at 2:16 right now. So let's see we know what Bev said. I'm pretty sure. Let's see, how long was she out? Yeah, 15 minutes. She was true to her word. Yep, there it is. Let's see where we're. It's hard to get this right.
GG will be for the 6-1.
Thank you.
Oh, that is the fan. Okay.
So Jim.
Jimmy.
And actually, they'll need to be passed down to Nancy.
Jimmy.
Sorry.
Jimmy. This is ridiculous. Breathless Bev.
Okay, the witness can take the stand, please.
Okay, so then we know that it was approved. So we're not going to re-listen to that. And let's see where that takes us. Oh, Matt McCabe. Oh, well, maybe we'll just roll right into Maddie and we'll save Jen for tomorrow night. Then we'll have the whole Friday Night Lives for Jen. How do you guys feel about that? Is that cool with everybody? I'm coming back to the chat box.
With anything.
Are you up with anything? Because he's next, and that makes it super easy for us instead of going forward to Jen and then back. Because this is the order that it went in. He did go before Jen, so I think I forgot about that. We should keep it in the same order, and so and then we've got all tomorrow night. I don't think we'll get through all of Jen, but we may. We're not going to do too much with Lally with her. We're mostly going to do her crosses. So sure, says MCAT. Okay, give me a 5-minute stretch break. I'm just going to let the end of Colin roll because I've got to stretch my knee just a little bit more, and I'm going to refresh my my water here, or I may go big tonight, guys. It's Thursday night. don't got anything super pressing tomorrow. I have these little tiny margaritas that my friend left for me when she was here visiting Jeannie. You guys know I am not a big drinker. I very rarely ever drink. I like my Corona with the lime. I like my pina colada. But I don't typically drink these little margarita things. But I tasted one and they were kind of good. I think I'll have a half of one to get me through Matt McCabe.
You're gonna get turned up.
Gotta get a little turned up to deal with Mr. Matt McCabe. Okay, so I'm gonna put this back just a smidge so I can go grab a glass of ice and stretch my knee for a minute, and then so let me back this up to the end of Colin, because I think he went through he redid the whole bang bang thing for the jury. So I'll just back this up like 5 minutes and I'll be right back.
Do you know what apple cider vinegar does to your liver? Watch this. This one organ can make a woman's belly big and stick out.
As an entity, is your family close with all of the Proctors, or is your family close with Courtney Proctor, or is your family close with Michael Proctor?
Mostly just like my aunt and my mom's friendly with Courtney, I'd say. Not really close with Michael.
Thank you, MCAT. And yes, Amanda, he is a big liar.
Text messages that
hey guys, I'll be right back.
On the screen yesterday and up on the screen today, as far as sort of gap between January 28th and February, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, you indicated that there were other means by which you would have communicated with your friend Allie McCabe. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is that consistent with? Is that only Allie McCabe, or is that consistent with other friends that you would communicate with?
All my friends.
You would sort of switch between call, text, Snapchat, other apps, things like that.
Exactly.
And the top of that screen was the text messages regarding picking you up from 34 Fairview on January 28th or 29th, correct?
Correct.
Do you have any idea when the last time was? The text before that, was it days, weeks, months?
Not sure.
That period sort of.
Thank you.
Yeah. That period of sort of January 28th into February, is that how would you characterize that? Is that a normal gap between times that you would have text communications with Allie McCabe?
On iMessage, yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
And from photographs that you were shown yesterday during your direct examination, when I was asking you questions.
If every time you see an ad, you just wanna, you need to download Pi. It's a free Chrome extension that blocks ads on all your favorite sites. It even blocks ads that you didn't even know were ads. Imagine being able to scroll and stream completely uninterrupted. And that's not even the best part. If you opt in, Pi will give you cashback rewards for ads that you do see. And if you're still not convinced, just ask the thousands of users who love Pi. So if you're tired of constant ads, check out Pi today.
Looks like you're getting a $3,200 refund.
Did she mention that at H&R Block, everyone gets their max refund or their money back?
And we always guarantee
100% accuracy on every return.
You had me at max refund.
Switch to H&R Block and get 100% accuracy and your max refund guaranteed.
Those were photographs from February 11th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
And Ms. McCabe was present at the house for your cousin Jack coming home from the Marine Corps as well?
Correct.
You saw her on February 11th, correct?
Yes.
Now, the other photographs that you were shown today at some sort of bar or establishment, were those taken before or after the time at your uncle's house when your cousin Jack came home from the Marines?
After.
And after by days, weeks, if you know?
Weeks.
Now, with regard to questions you were asked about injuries to your hands, those are two separate incidents, one in February when you slipped on ice, is that correct?
Correct.
And one in July when you had struck a heavy bag, correct?
Correct.
When you struck a heavy bag and got sort of injuries on your hands, were you wearing anything on your hand when you hit the heavy bag?
Nothing. Nope.
Have you received any sort of training in boxing, taking classes, anything like that?
Never.
It's something you do as part of your workout, correct?
Correct.
And you're an athlete, correct?
I'd like to say so, yeah.
You played sports in high school, correct?
Yeah.
And at least at the beginning of college, you played sports in college, correct?
Correct.
Now, you were asked about things about that February 26th photo at, it was Fenway Johnny's, is that where it was?
Correct.
And you were asked about control over the photograph, correct?
Say that again.
You were asked different questions about your control over what you could do or alter with respect to the photograph, correct?
Yes, correct.
Ultimately, though, you were in control about whether or not you were photographed, correct?
Yes.
Nobody forced you to go up and pose with your friends or anything like that?
Nope.
Now, as far as those videos that you were just shown, how old were you?
Around 16, I'd say around 16 years old.
So you believe it was sometime in your sophomore year of high school?
Yes, that's what I believe.
And so that would have been a couple years before your senior year of high school, which you were in January 2022, correct?
Correct.
And this video, as far as you recall who you were referencing in those videos?
An Advantage club hockey team.
So a club hockey team, were they about the same age as you?
Yes.
And did you know any of those people?
Nope.
And were they the club hockey team, was that within the same town as you were?
I'm not sure.
Did you play hockey
Nope.
at any point in time in high school?
Never.
And was this just you sending them videos, or was this some sort of argument or something going back and forth?
It was an argument going back and forth.
So what, if anything, did you or any of your friends receive in regard to from that?
Jackson. Did you leave something on the witness stand?
Thank you, Robert.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lally, your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor, the Commonwealth call Mr. Matthew McCabe to the stand.
All right, guys, I'm back. That's enough of Lally trying to convince us that little innocent choir boy there wasn't trying to do anything against the hockey team. Okay, we know that's not true at all. So, okay, Amanda, this is good. Amanda from South Africa, welcome. We're super happy to have you. And I wanted to address your question because this is a good one. So, has anyone viewed John's Ring camera? After Karen left to look for John, the police were following her early that morning. So, I remember this like faintly because there's just so much to do with this case. So when people bring up these really good in-depth questions, right?
I'm sleeping over
Julie,
here. Sorry.
oh, you're okay, Julie. So do you, MCAT answered and said, Amanda, I had not heard police were following her. Do you mean when she was on her way to Jen's house? And then Amanda says, I've got the link. I can send it to you. That would be great. Send it to my email, ACTT, and I'm going to type it in the chat, ACTTM@gmail.com. Now, before we, so let me see if I can get this down, the link that you have, show everybody what you're talking about. I do remember that there, but here's the problem is, remember, there was a lot of John's Ring camera that was missing. And of course, the prosecution was blaming it on Karen, but she had no ability, according to the kids, even to do anything with John's Ring camera. And then, of course, the defense is blaming it on the dirty cops that they deleted portions of John's Ring camera. So what has even been submitted into evidence is, you know, very little, and a lot of it's missing. So I don't know that there would be. And what are you referring to the Ring camera, like that maybe the police were like out in front and followed her from there?
So so I think what she's talking about is Abby and is it Boozy Beauty? I think that's her name.
Yeah.
They were looking through footage, and Abby picked it up when Karen's backing out of John's driveway. She takes off, and she's at John's house, and she pulls out of the driveway. She takes a left, then takes another left, and 8 seconds behind her, there's flashing lights that pull up. Now they're flashing blue lights. Now anything with flashing blue lights on a vehicle is for police emergency vehicles only. There are flashing blue lights on like light poles, and that tells you whether there's a parking emergency, but that's completely separate. This is moving. Now it's illegal in Massachusetts to have blue and red lights on any other vehicle aside from a cop car.
Right. Only the cop. Well, same. I think it's illegal in any state. I mean, I'd have to look it up to verify that, but I know in Wisconsin too, only squad cars, police cars have the red and blues. And so that could be where the confusion's coming in, that it wasn't a squad car, right?
Well, yeah. So what Abby was saying is that she noticed a vehicle behind, and the car makes the same left and basically follows her 8 seconds behind. And so what Abby was basically saying was, well, if most likely this is a police car, she's not saying that the police were stopped stopped outside of John's house at from 1 o'clock in the morning on, or whatever time on, and then just sat there and watched her, or came to the house afterwards. What she's saying is that if there was a squad car there that had the lights on for whatever reason, that car would have a dash cam in it, and you'd be able to see the rear of Karen's Lexus. And that started a whole entire cluster online, and that's what Aussie Insider Giardi is going after her for, saying no, the strobe light and this and that. But all she's saying is that cool, there was probably a squad car there, and there's dash footage of the car, if that's police, which most likely it is. So that's what everybody's talking about. Now, I personally think that when Karen called Jen McCabe at 4:53, and then she immediately calls Julie Albert, I think she called Julie Albert and said, all right, everything's off. She's awake. She called me. She might be on the way. And I believe, again, disclaimer, this is just going by what, speculation, that I think somebody called and said, hey, she's on her way. She's awake. She's looking for things. Go keep an eye on her. And I think that's what somebody might have, just did like a drive-by, or just, slowly.
Yeah. And thank you, Julie. You are truly our encyclopedia of all things that is showing up. And Amanda, thank you so much. I just got it, so I pulled it up. So let me play this. This will be fair use, so I don't think they'll have a problem. Plus, we support these two ladies, so I don't think they'll have a problem with us showing it.
John O'Keefe, then why was the Canton Police Department watching over her the evening John O'Keefe was murdered? You heard me right. Karen Reed was being watched over. Someone was staking out 1 Meadows Ave, John O'Keefe's home, as Karen Reed was asleep. This is not a conspiracy. It's on video, and many of you missed it. Karen Reed left John O'Keefe's home at 5:07 a.m. on January 29, 2022 to look for him. It is only 8 seconds later that we see a Canton Police Department vehicle with their lights on following her. And it was all discovered on John O'Keefe's Ring camera. Take a look at this.
All right, I'm going to try to make this bigger. Hang on, stand by a second, you guys. I'm going to get rid of us so that we can see it better.
Be like Hagen. Be like, I'm sorry, Hagen's Kevin from South Boston. Take us off the TV.
So she's got an arrow. You guys see the arrow to the right? She's pointing at pink arrow. And so let's look and see.
Yeah, so Karen's going to go left, and then, well, I'm pointing at the screen like you can see, but she's going to go left, and then behind her, you're going to see from right to left.
I want to say thank you to Video Jesus Abby, one of my friends, over on Twitter, because it was actually on one of John Comeau's Canton Chronicle with Eric
I'm gonna try
on YouTube, one of their lives, that she pointed this out.
We have red, blue, and then it's going behind that bush.
Here's the blue. Yep. Here's the blue red.
Yep. See, there's blue multiple times. I mean, you can literally count at least like 10
see
frames.
Blue, I see red. Do you guys see that too? Do you guys see blue and red? Julie, are you seeing it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I saw this before. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, good. You've seen it. Okay, good. Let me go back then. Hang on a second. I was kind of skeptical. I wasn't sure I was going to see blue and red, but
yeah,
it looks
like right there. I'm looking right at blue right there.
Yeah. So I mean, we go this, right? And then even when it goes behind the trees, we still see the same pattern.
Still see,
so we see blue again. Yep. This is not, and it doesn't really look like an ambulance or anything like that to me.
They're
so that's where
colors.
I'm like, see blue again, blue. So we still have this consistent pattern, but wait for it. So this is where it should come out of the bush, right? And then it will cut. It cuts. So it seems to always cut on very convenient times. Like, why did it cut right at that moment?
My friend Abby is not from Massachusetts, but I sure am. And if you're from Massachusetts, you may be aware of the Mass General Law C-90, I don't know, 70, I don't know how to say that. Display of red or blue lights on vehicles. I personally once was a Jeep owner and I wanted to once put colored lights on my Jeep. And guess what? I had to learn this law really quickly that you cannot just put red or blue lights on your vehicle in Massachusetts. As stated in this law, red or blue oscillating lights can only be used for official business by any police department of the Commonwealth, or a vehicle owned and operated by a police officer, or a vehicle operated by a police commissioner, or a vehicle actually being used for transportation of persons who are under arrest. Are you getting the hint yet? What I'm trying to state for any people that are not in Massachusetts, or maybe people in Massachusetts who don't know the law, you cannot have red or blue lights on your vehicle unless you are police. Frankly, there is no denying this. It was only 8 seconds from when Karen pulled out of One Meadows Ave when this vehicle was right behind her. Where this police vehicle went afterwards is up for speculation. Could it be shown on business camera footage? Yeah, absolutely. Are we ever going to see that? No. I have a hunch I know exactly where this vehicle went. For those of you who aren't local or unfamiliar with the area, this is One Meadows Ave. And just a straight shot and one turn leads to the police department. Karen Reed was being watched by Canton PD that night. Let's go over the timeline again. Shout out to my friend Sleuthy Goosey again, because this document has come in clutch for my reporting. Here is what we know based off of phone calls within the officers of the case. First up, we now know that Brian Higgins was at Canton PD and made a phone call at 1:40 a.m. We know Jen McCabe was still driving and she didn't get home until 2:12 a.m. And of course, it was only 10 minutes later where we had the butt dial buddies, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins. Soon after that, at 2:25, Jen McCabe sends a text message, another text message, deletes 2 screenshots, and then Googles house long to die in cold. Our favorite witness, Lucky the plow driver, drives by 34 Fairview Road and doesn't see a body outside of it. And then he drives by again and he sees a Ford Edge parked outside of Brian Albert's home, 34 Fairview Road. Karen Reed then wakes up and starts calling everyone, and she ends up leaving at 5:07 a.m. We know all the back and forth between Jen McCabe, Carrie Roberts, Matt McCabe, Karen Reed, and then they find John around 6:03 in the morning. Riddle me this. If Karen Reed left John O'Keefe's home at 5:07 a.m., they didn't find John O'Keefe's body until 6:03 a.m. John O'Keefe allegedly hadn't been known, hadn't been seen outside at all. No witness, no nothing. If no one knew where John O'Keefe was until 6:03 a.m., why the fuck was she being followed? Why would any Canton police officer be parked down the street of Pleasant waiting to see when Karen Reed left John's house? If no one knew that John O'Keefe was dead at 5:07 a.m., then someone please, with a rational brain, try to fucking make it understand why anyone would be staking out Karen Reed. We need to start looking at every single officer that was on duty that night. We need to look at every single officer that had the means and motive to be watching Karen Reed that night. All these officers are public servants. Thankfully, their salaries are all publicly listed online, which means you can find out every single person that was getting paid by the state to the Canton Police Department. And then from there, you can dwindle it down. We obviously need to start at the top at Helena Rafferty and Ken Berkowitz.
Great stuff. Great stuff, Amanda. Thank you so much. So Julie, MCAT, Amanda, Kathy, everybody who's in the chat tonight. Come here, baby dog. Come here. Baby dog says, "Hey, listen, man, it's 2:38 into this live, and I've had enough. I'll take him out in a second when I start." Matt McCabe, come here, buddy. Oh, you want to play? Okay, stand by, everybody. Let me grab him.
It's Fluffies.
He's done so great with everything that's gone on in the last 11 days. He's gone to the hospital with me every time. He's been calm, patient. He's been to grocery stores. He's been everywhere, and he's learning how to just sit and wait. So what he normally does is he sits for a few minutes and then he literally lays down. And people at all these places where I've taken him, hospitals, grocery stores, everywhere you can name, in a line, everywhere, they can't believe he's only 4 months old, that he's so calm. Yeah, he's so calm and he's so patient, and he's been kind of sleeping and laying down here on his puppy bed playing with his toys this whole time. He's just a great guy. I could never have adopted a better dog than this. There's just no way. So I'm a little flabbergasted. I had not, because of my friend being in the hospital, I have not seen that. I didn't know that existed. Here's my question for you guys, and I want to ask you this. If they're trying to be incognito and be sneaky cops, right? Why are there reds and blues on?
Maybe they weren't trying to be so incognito.
But why are there reds and blues on? The reds and blues, it's actually against the law for a cop to run reds and blues unless they're on a call.
You think they believe in the law in Canton? No.
We're playing Gracie Allen here and a little bit of George Burns, right?
Say goodnight,
Gracie.
Gracie.
One of us is which, but yeah, I'm messing with you a little bit, but there's there'd be no reason for them to be running reds and blues if they're trying to follow Karen incognito. That makes zero sense to me. Okay, I'm just being devil's advocate here, you guys, as an ex-cop. Yeah, if I was an ex-cop and I'm dirty and I'm being told that I am now in this, I'm part of this, and you need to go and surveillance Karen Reed and follow her every move, there's no fucking way I'm turning my reds and blues on. So I'm kind of curious now, and I think what we'll have to do is I'm going to get a hold of these ladies, and I'm going to get permission to maybe see if they'll come on tomorrow night, or if not, if we can go back and revisit this tomorrow night, because we're in 241 already tonight, and I have had a pretty crazy week, so I don't want to wear myself out for tomorrow night, but I want to look into this, and I truly appreciate you, Amanda. Thank you so much for joining us from South Africa, and thank you for alerting me to this, because it is interesting. Okay, buddy, we're almost done tonight. We're almost done. So I'm going to let Matt McCabe roll here for a little bit and mute so I can go run him outside. And then we're going to revisit this tomorrow night, Amanda, if you're free to come. Come here, sweetie. Come here. If you're free to come and hang with us tomorrow night, and we'll revisit this. Here's the phone. We'll revisit this tomorrow night, because I'm super intrigued by this, but I have a problem with the reds and blues being on. It makes no sense to me. So I want to dig into this more for sure and talk about it. So let's see what everybody's saying in the chat. Oh yes, thank you, Hi, Shauna. I put up that you were here, but I didn't formally say hi to you. Hi, my dear. Welcome from South Florida. And Laws and Cat, the drink has gotten to your brain. Yeah. Oh, this is funny. You love this one. So my son got this when he went to the motorcycle week here in Daytona Beach. So this is a green plastic Solo cup. So I'll just have you know, this is for the Packer colors, for the Kawasaki, but it's my green Solo cup. And yes, Julie has hers. No, the drink is not getting to my brain.
Mine filled with tail
Oh,
light.
yes, I see it. Even the worst cop on the worst day, if they were told to surveillance Karen Reed, would never turn on the reds and blues. Not even the worst possible, ridiculous, miserable cop. So definitely going to dig into that tomorrow during the day, see what I can come up with. And then I'm going to write to these ladies, because I do have contact with Video Jesus I have in the past. So I'll write to her. I don't know Boozy Beauty, but she seems very funny. I love her passion. So I'm going to see if just write to them, make sure it's okay that we're showing their content. Because fair use is good, but I always like to get permission. You guys know I like to get permission on this channel. So I'm going to...
Abby might come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute so I can take baby dog out, and I'm gonna roll Matt McCabe, and we'll see how far we go before we get tired. Okay, stand by.
Very true, Cat.
Sam.
Okay.
Step right up. Watch the step. And remain standing and face the court.
Do you solemnly swear the evidence given to the court and jury in the case down here is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You can stay.
All right, Mr. Lally, whenever you're ready.
Your Honor. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Would you please state your name and spell your last name? Sure, sir.
For anyone with dementia, do not drink warm water. Did you know that memory loss is not a condition of the mind?
Matthew McCabe, MCCABE.
And where do you live, sir?
Canton, Massachusetts.
And how long have you lived in Canton?
Be 20 years this coming June.
And during the time that you have lived in Canton, have you lived at the same place or have you lived at different places?
Different places.
So where do you live currently? How long have you lived there?
Currently, I will be 10 years this June.
And where did you live prior to that?
Prior to that, you want the physical address?
Yes.
15 Sutcliffe Ave. I was there for 10 years as well.
And with respect to both locations, who, if anyone, do you live with?
I live with my wife and my 4 daughters.
And what is your wife's name?
Jennifer.
And how long have you and Jennifer McCabe met?
2022, so 23 years in August.
And you have 4 daughters, is that right?
That's correct.
And how old are you?
I'm 49. Oh, my daughters?
That's okay. Your daughters, how old are your daughters?
20, 18, 16, and 15.
And your oldest daughter is Allie McCabe, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And do you work, sir?
Yes, I do.
What do you do for work?
I work for a information technology solutions firm.
And how long have you been doing that?
2009. So I think I'm coming on 15 years.
And does your wife work?
No.
What does your wife do?
Stay at home, raises the kids. Homemaker.
If I could turn your attention to January 28th and to January 29th of 2022. Do you recall those days?
Yes, I do.
Recall what days they did.
I gotta just say this. I'm just like shocked in the year 2024. This was in 2024 that he would say that he would just say homemaker and that she stays at home and raises the kids. Well, what the F do you do, Matt? Do you not participate in raising your kids? Are you not part of that equation at all? And I found it to be very stunning when this trial was on. I did not know much about Matt McCabe's background. And when he said he was in IT, I was like, whoa, the bells are going off. Ding, 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 ding. Right. With her phone. And it's just like, it's just too much. This whole thing, every single witness is like a character unto themselves. So All right, I'm going to mute so you don't have to listen to Puppy being angry at me because I put him on a timeout on my bed. he's on a timeout on my cushy, soft, beautiful Tempur-Pedic mattress, but he's not happy with me because he's wearing out of patience. So I'm going to mute.
Friday into Saturday.
And did you work that day on the Friday?
Yes, I did.
And at that point, do you recall, were you working in an office or remotely? To the waterfall?
Yes, if you're looking at the front door of the waterfall, we were parked in the parking lot down the left.
And the waterfall sort of shares its parking lot or its establishment with a condo complex. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So you parked somewhere in that parking lot?
Correct. I parked in the parking lot, yes.
And when you came into the waterfall, who, if anyone, did you see there, and where did you go?
When we walked into the waterfall, we identified where Jen's sister and their party was sitting.
And where were they sitting in relation to the waterfall?
When you walk in the front door, I believe there's 3 long tables that are set up. We passed, they were in the 3rd table, long table closest to the bar. Across from, there was also a band. They were right across from a little band.
There was a live band there as well?
Yes, there was.
Now, prior to you and your wife entering into the waterfall, you recall what, if anything, you did, or who, if anyone, you were talking to in the parking lot?
Yes, on the car ride from my house to the waterfall, and while I was in the parking lot, I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone.
And do you recall just generally what the conversation was about?
Yes, I do.
And what was it about?
It was about my daughter, my oldest daughter, Allie, who we mentioned. It was about her hockey team and her hockey coach. I was talking to one of the hockey coaches.
And when you were talking to this person, this is inside the car, is that correct?
That is correct.
And despite it being sort of a wife's car, was your phone hooked up to the speakers? Did you have a Bluetooth or anything like that?
I don't know if I connected mine to the Bluetooth or not. I don't recall if I was connected to the Bluetooth or not. I know my phone connects, so possibly. I don't know for sure if it was 100% connected that evening.
Now, with respect to it being your wife's car, is there, when both of you are in the car, is there sort of a default as to which of your phones would connect to the Bluetooth, yours versus hers?
Look at it that way, it would be my wife's because it was her car.
So the car would probably recognize her device over your device, correct?
That is correct.
Now,
actually, I started the call definitely on my phone because my kids were I was on the call for a while. So I think I had the kids still in the car when I was dropping them off. So I wouldn't have them listening to the call. So I must have been on, again, I don't remember, but I must have been listening on my, holding it in my hand.
And when you come into the waterfall, do you recall about what time that was?
I did 9 o'clock, give or take a couple minutes.
And again, you come over to a table closest to the bar, and who's in the group when you get there?
When we arrived, it was Nicole, Caitlin, Caitlin's boyfriend, Tristan, Chris Albert, and Julie Albert.
I mean, how did you know?
Is this the best survival game ever made? This is the aircraft carrier shelter you seized.
I had met Brian a few times, social settings. I recall meeting him at the Junction one evening. I believe I met him at a graduation party. I don't know how many times I met Brian, but I met him maybe 3-4 times. I don't know exactly how many. So I knew who he was.
You knew who he was as far as he was friend or friendly with your brother-in-law, Brian Albert, correct?
Yes.
And that's how you knew him, was through Brian Albert?
Yes.
And do you know where Brian Albert Sr. and Brian Higgins had been prior to them coming to the waterfall?
Yes, I was informed that they were in New York, coming back from New York from a funeral of New York police officer.
And both of them, as far as you knew, Brian Albert Sr. and Brian Higgins, they were in law enforcement. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you mentioned that at some point around 11 or so, John O'Keefe and Karen Reed came into the waterfall, correct?
Yes.
And just to be clear, when you speak of Karen Reed, that's someone that you had met prior to this evening as well?
Yes, that's correct.
And clarity purposes, for the record, do you see Ms. Reed in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Could you just describe as to where she's seated or an article of clothing?
She is seated at the table with her attorneys. You want me to describe her clothing?
If you could.
Black, I don't know, sweater, I'm not sure, dress.
Just ask the record reflect identification.
Yes.
Now, with regard to Mr. O'Keefe first, how was it that you knew Mr. O'Keefe?
I met John O'Keefe when he started to be the caretaker for his niece and nephew after their parents had passed.
And specifically, you're referring to Patrick and Kaylee Furbush, is that correct?
That is correct.
So their mother and father tragically passed away, and Mr. O'Keefe then became their guardian, correct?
That is correct.
And when you met Mr. O'Keefe, is that when you were living at the house on Sutcliffe?
Yes.
And where was that house in relation to where Mr. O'Keefe initially lived with his niece and nephew?
A couple hundred yards, 2 different streets. It's a neighborhood with multiple streets. My house was on Sutcliffe. Drive down Sutcliffe, maybe pass 1, 2, 3, 4 houses, took a right, and that was John. That was the street that the kids lived on, maybe 4 houses up on the right.
And with reference to, you mentioned that you had 4 daughters, is that correct?
Yes.
And were any of your daughters
I forgot
around the
that.
same age as John's niece, Kaylee?
Yes, my third daughter is the same age, same grade as Kaylee.
And about this time that John had moved in this house close to the house you were living on,
Julie
Sutcliffe,
is a
how old
walking
was your daughter
encyclopedia.
and his niece, Kaylee?
Ooh, I believe it was kindergarten. How old would you be in kindergarten? 7? I don't know.
I think kindergarten suffices. So
Okay.
fair to say they were very young, correct?
Yes.
And with reference to the kids, what, if any, beyond sort of being neighbors, what, if any, relationship did either you or your wife have with regard to Mr. O'Keefe and specifically the niece and nephew?
I'm sorry. The door. I was trying to. No, the door was shaking, so I couldn't hear the end of it.
So around that time that Mr. O'Keefe moved in with his niece and nephew and took over guardianship of them,
Yes.
what, if any, relationship beyond being neighbors did yourself and or your wife have with respect to Mr. O'Keefe and the kids?
Oh, yeah, we had a good relationship, especially my wife. She was having the kids the same age, Kaylee, and my daughter. She was very involved with helping him out, whether it's rides to various events. Throughout those years, I'd also coached Kaylee myself a couple times in soccer, and my wife also coached her in basketball. So play dates, things of that nature. Various times we'd go out with John, where he would meet up somewhere where we were. So a friendly relationship where, John was, in essence, acting as a mother and a father, and so you do a lot of communicating through my wife in regards to needing help and things of that nature.
And in particular, his niece Kaylee and your daughter, who was around the same age, were they friends?
Yes, they were friends.
And about how close were they, particularly around that younger age?
They were very close in the young age. Kaylee would spend a lot of time at our house. Spend a lot of time sleeping over. So they were very close.
And Kaylee in particular, was she, how close was she with your wife, Jennifer?
Kaylee was close with Jen. Kaylee was mature, well beyond the other girls in regards to she was bright, and she was very articulate. So she could have conversations with the adults much better than the other kids. Having 4 girls, she's a bright kid.
Now, at some point, Mr. O'Keefe and the kids moved from that house, and you also moved from the house on Sutcliffe, correct?
That is correct.
And do you recall the order of that? Was it you to move first, or they to move first?
I'm pretty sure I moved first. Yes.
And about how far away from the house on Sutcliffe was your new house?
It's right up the street, driving in a car, 2 minutes. I don't know, mile and a half. I'm not sure the exact.
Are we both muted?
Oh, there we go. Sorry, my mute button's sticking tonight. I just wanted to stop it for a minute and ask you guys what you thought about the coincidence that, which is interesting to me, that Matt and Jen lived next to John and the kids when they were in the kids' house that they had lived in with their parents, and then when they moved to One Meadows, they ended up being neighbors with Chris and Julie Albert. It's just a tangled web of a lot of just a lot of lines being drawn from person to person to person, right?
Yeah. Sean had on one of the neighbors, I think I mentioned last week or what it was. I forget her. I think her name is Joan. And she was the one that lived in the Ponkapog area where they lived originally, and knew Jen McCabe, and said not the greatest things about her, but basically said that, if she wanted to, like, she'll just play with people just to see if she can. Like, oh, you're going to drink that? You should have another drink. I think you should have another drink. Yeah, go ahead, have another drink. Have another drink. See, I told you I can get that drink. Like something like that. But yeah, it's like everybody knows everybody there.
Yeah, absolutely. So question, do you guys want to suffer through any more of Lally, or do you should we have Julie? Julie, do you have anything to show us tonight?
I do. I was going to ask you if you wanted to save that for tomorrow, or if you want to go and do like a whole thing.
Yeah, no, let's
do a whole thing and do a dive.
Yeah, let's show what you've got, and then we can come. I don't think we need to hear most everybody knows. I just wanted to get a little bit of Lally, so we got to get a feel for his demeanor. I like to see how their demeanor changes on cross, because it's just so strikingly different with all these people. So that's why I like to show a little bit of Lally. But yeah, let's have you take it away for a little bit, and then I'll pull up the cross, and we can do a little bit of cross of Matt tonight, and then we'll finish Matt's cross up tomorrow, and then go right into Jen McCabe, and then we'll end up. We may have to do 2 next week too to keep caught up before the actual trial starts. So we may have to do 2 more next week to get Jen done, and then we want to get to the rest of the few major people that we really want to hear, and then we'll be pretty much caught up. So unless there's somebody we skipped that you guys want to see while we're waiting for the next trial, because we skipped some of the officers, and we skipped some, we skipped the medical people. We haven't done any of the medical people. So I'm happy to do anyone that you want to see before the actual trial starts. And so, trial starts Tuesday. What? I thought it was backed up.
I don't know about that. It was supposed to start on Tuesday. That's what everybody's saying. That's what Turtle's saying. But then I guess at the last minute, that's what they're saying in the chat. I guess at the last minute, they said, because they got 16 jurors, and they're like, okay, ready to go. This is what our key number was. And I guess that Bev at the last second said, no, come back on Monday. We're going to do more jurors, because who the Christ knows what they're going to do with jurors, and go from there. So.
Oh, I did not realize it was starting that soon. Well, that's okay. I mean, we'll get through. We'll do a little bit more Matt tonight when we're done with Julie, or if we get too tired when we're done with Julie, we'll just do Matt Cross tomorrow, and we'll do as much of Jen as we can, and then we'll hopefully catch up next week with whoever else we really want to review, because then we're going to want to keep up with the new trial on Friday nights.
Yes.
So yes, definitely.
I vote Higgy. I would like to see Higgy and
we got to do
reading of the messages.
Oh yeah, we got to do Higgins yet. So we got to finish Matt's cross. We got to do Jen. We got to do Higgy, and then anybody else we feel like that we can kind of weave in there in between some of because some of these earlier witnesses we might not have a whole lot of content for Friday nights anyway. So we can keep reviewing trial 1 while we weave in trial 2. I think that'll work just fine. So thanks, MCAT. Might start Tuesday. Always. MCAT says might start Tuesday, I guess. Always go with what Julie says. Absolutely. Julie is our resident expert of everything Karen Reed trial.
Oh, I don't know about that. No. Far from it. But
well, you're ours. I said our resident expert.
Oh, okay. All right, then. Proceed. No kidding.
Yes, proceed. You are. I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
Thank
you. Can you answer?
Oh my gosh. All right. What do you need me to add to the stage here for you?
Okay, so I have it up. So I have screen share. So I think I finally figured out what I screwed up last week.
Okay, let me get rid of the other stuff that I had. Now there's yours. Okay, got it. Add to stage.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, all right. So I can
okay, away you go. I'm gonna mute so you guys don't hear the puppy being a crying puppy.
Oh, poor baby. let's see. All right, let's make this as big as possible. There we go. Okay. See, this is what I should have done with the other one, but that's okay. We learned. Okay, so I think I said last week. So I got a wild hair when one day I almost said church. Oh my God. When one day at court, Grant was outside with Turtle and the Glairer and Tom CPU talking about, and it was snowing. It was actively snowing. And somebody threw a button down because they were talking about how much snow is there. And I still don't know how much snow is there. I mean, it's anywhere from it wasn't snowing to a coating to 4 inches to 6 inches to who the Christ knows. So they threw a button down in the ground, and Grant said, well, why don't we come back and, like we'll see if it's still there and see if we can see it. Why don't we come back in a couple hours and, see if we can see it? Well, it's actively snowing. And everybody just laughed at him and thought it was ridiculous. And I said, you know what? That's a really good point. Why doesn't somebody do that? So then I waited and said, you know what? I could either sit here and twiddle my thumbs, like I already did some stuff, and it was like, or I can go out and go see if this actually does, cover it. Like, what would a crime scene look like? Like how, like maybe it is quote unquote innovative to use a leaf blower in the snow to try to uncover something. I showed you guys last week what that looks like and what I think actually ended up happening. And so I said, all right, well, how can I go ahead and do this? And so I went through. I ended up going to Harbor Freight, which is by me, and got these little plastic things and said, all right, well, let me make a mock crime scene. And so that's what I ended up doing, which was a mock crime scene. So this is how it starts. I got all the stuff to make a mock crime scene. This is where it starts. But then beforehand, I did get these two LED lights that have plastic on them. Now, this is not polycarbonate. This is something called polymethyl, and I can't remember, acrylic. This is acrylic plastic. This is the plastic that was used in the 80s when they went from glass to plastic. This is not as strong as polycarbonate, but pretty strong. This is 6 times stronger than glass. And glass is difficult, not possible, but difficult to break. So what I did was I took these two here, right? I could do, yeah, here we go. So I took these guys here. And what I did was I ended up smashing one of them, which is what we're going to see. And this one I ended up cutting in half with a circular saw. But I'm going to show you what it would look like if somebody were to smash something that is less strong than polycarbonate. Now, granted, these come from China and they're very cheaply made. 2 of these were $5. But this is going to show you how easy or not easy it is to break them. One or two disclaimers. Number one, don't do this. Okay, disclaimer, don't do this. I'm taking on my own risk by doing this type of stuff to show. Don't do this. Don't do this without anything covering your hand. This is strong and it shouldn't go through your hands, but you don't know what the chemical structure looks like, where it could have a weakness, could have impurities. It could, shatter in your hand because it's just a, piece of crap that's $5 from, an unregulated factory in China. So just don't do that anyways. Number two, I forget what I was going to say. Number two. I did this in my basement and I have my alarm that beeps. So you're going to hear some beeps. I'm going to try to fast forward as much of this as possible, but this just kind of gives you the gist of things. So enjoy. Nope, you need to play. No, you need to play. Come on. Come on. Come on, you need to play. Really? We're not going to play? Okay. Oh boy. Hang on 1 second, please. There we go.
Here we go. It is Saturday, February 8th at 20 at night, according to 2000 hours. It's just starting to snow. About 32 degrees outside. Temperature's not really the problem, or it's not really the issue that we're dealing with right now. Right now we're going to do an experiment. And to prepare for that, I'm going to break a couple of these. These are taillights from trailer from China Freight. So nothing but the best. These are red, as you can see. They are acrylic, which is a type of plastic. This is what the old taillights used to be made out of. When they switched from actual glass to plastic, they used acrylic. They're a lot cheaper. These two were $5, including the LEDs that came inside of them, shockingly. And I have another pair, about a tenth of the strength of polycarbonate. And break them. You shouldn't have a problem. Well, because I have a brain in my head and have
Oh, hang on.
degrees.
Talking about the guy in the attic. Hang on.
1/50th. So these should not break. Now, I know what a lot of you are saying. Hey, if you just use your elbow and break them, you shouldn't have a problem. Well, because I have a brain in my head and have science degrees, we're not going to do that. But I'm going to show you. Now, again, these are 4.5 inches by 2 inches. I'm going to slice this one in half and see what I do with it. But this one we're going to bust out. So let's see if I can break this with my human extremities. I mean, I'm on a piece of plywood. But again, for demonstration purposes, don't do this at home, please. Because if you do it with your elbow, like in a fucked up manner, where it's like you're doing the monkey or sit-ups, please don't do that. No. Disclaimer. Don't fucking do that. Let's see. Right. You should be able to punch it, and it should shatter into a million billion pieces. I should have residue all over the place.
That's 1. That's 2. 3.
I cover my hand just in case. We're going to have an episode of How Did Julie Injure Herself?
4. 5.
Fuck!
That was a good one.
I didn't mean to do that. Jesus Christ. They can hit my wrist instead. Okay. Need to fucking grip myself even more. Alright, I'll find sponge instrument. And here's the thing that I didn't realize I had. I need a wrench finally. But alright, let's just do it this way. Nope.
Blunt object.
Nope. 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 Now I know what you're saying. Whoa, just dainty little woman. Of course, a dainty little woman wouldn't be able to do it. No, we need to keep that one there. Of course, a dainty little woman wouldn't be able to do anything. She's just a dainty little thing.
Dainty little woman.
I'm 5'8" a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not exactly
Nothing dainty about me.
the daintiest, feeblest. I have been known to. Well, I'm not gonna have a kissing contest. I'm gonna find something so I can actually fucking hit this thing.
All right, you don't need to see my basement.
I'm gonna have an intact one. I mean, this is still gonna be. It's still gonna be the same thickness.
So this is Stilton wrench. Very heavy. 1.
Oh, no. Look at the camera. Okay. You see that?
Transfer
right
mark.
Here. There's the faintest of cracks. And I hit that with that monkey wrench. Or Stilton wrench. Nope. You look there. Yeah. That's so where I smashed. And you can see, nope, look at the camera.
Look at that.
All right. This one.
There you go.
Okay. Now that looks like that
Hang on. No, let's see.
resembles a little bit more of what was allegedly found in the snow.
Let's see. There we go. All right. Can everybody see what this looks like right here? When you smash it with, I mean, how many times did I hit that? I hit that, what, 8 times with my hand, then what, 3 times with the silicone that I had, and then twice with the Stilton wrench. And again, this isn't the one that's extremely, this isn't polycarbonate, but this mimics polycarbonate. But look at this. Look at the little shards all around. Now, polycarbonate does this, not as much, but it also does this. And isn't this what, or something similar to this was found? And isn't the like the number one thing that I hear from the other side, which is, oh, what did they sprinkle? Did the polycarbonate taillight fairy come by and sprinkle stuff around? Well, maybe not, but look at what this is producing. So
And this is the type, I don't know if you can see little itty bitty pieces. This is what acrylic does. Acrylic will fragment. It doesn't have the same bond as polycarbonate, just because of how the polymers or the carbon chains are bonded. That's why it can, it's not as fragile or brittle. I mean, this isn't brittle, but it's a lot more brittle than polycarbonate. And these are the little specks that I'm guessing were allegedly found on the clothing.
Absolutely
Again,
not, MCAT.
These types of acrylic hasn't been used in cars in some time, and that's again why some of the noise. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. My alarm systems needs to be updated. So yeah, so these are some pieces. I think some of these are about the same size that were allegedly found underneath, I don't know, 15 feet of snow buried that they found after the fucking Puxatawny Phil came up, saw a shadow, and said, "Oh, by the way, here's a piece of taillight." Okay, so we're gonna smash this a little bit more because I want to break it into pieces so we can continue our little experiment. But all right, so as you can see, this one's gonna be shattered into pieces. Also, I'll demonstrate this.
Oh yeah, and then I did that last week, or a couple weeks ago, which we don't need to see again. Where is it? Right here. Okay. So all right, so everybody saw what it took to smash the lesser of the plastics used in taillights.
Alrighty, so continuation.
A lot of wax. All right, Kat, can you bring up the next one? Wait, you're still muted. Am I muted?
No, I was muted because the puppy's making noises. So I was just listening and concentrating on what you're talking about. Let me go to the next one. Add to stage.
Okay. So this is just a continuation of the same day. And again, the reason why I'm playing all these and the reason why I date and I go through the whole entire shebang is because this is, I'm looking at, I'm doing this like a science experiment so that you have time references so that it's kind of like a continuation. And so that it's just not like, okay, here's the money shot. Okay, where did you get that from? We don't know. Now we know because it's all been showed and displayed. So this is just a continuation. This is, I cut and broke the pieces up. And now we're gonna prep the crime. The crime spree. We're gonna prep the mock. Oh my God! Crime scene. Oh boy.
What are we doing? In the fucking snow. Okay.
And I like to swear. I apologize.
This time.
Swearing's allowed. No problem.
Crime scene investigator. Now, in order to play crime scene investigator, we have to set the stage. So, just cut up pieces of acrylic, red acrylic, and it says so on the China freight thing. That vary from 2 inches to very, very small, about half an inch. And then I have these guys right here that are also 4 inches. Something like that.
So that's what I have here.
So I can tell you exactly how tall they are. How big they are. They are 4 3/4. Okay, so 4, a little less than 4.5 inches by 2 inches. Rounded. Okay, 4.5 by 2. Okay, so pretty big piece. I mean, if you look at my hand, not really the best at putting shit down. See, it's about the size. Well, it goes to the middle of my palm. So, it's pretty good size. So what are we doing? This is what we're going to do. Come out here. Okay, so it started snowing a little bit early. We have what a coating. Keep looking at it. Keep thinking I'm pointing at the goddamn thing. Okay, so we have a little bit more than a coating. Okay, nice fluffy snow. Nice fluffy. And so what I did was try to shovel as much of my driveway as possible. Goes all the way down there, and I'm not going to show you because I forgot to cover my plate, which I have to do. But I marked off an area right over here. So I have this area here. Go to the fence. That area is 27 feet long by 15 feet wide. At 405 square foot area. Now there are marks over here, and I'm going to stay here because I already pooter slammed myself in slow motion, which was not fun. I don't feel like doing it again. There's ice over there, so be careful. What I did was I marked off 10 foot where that black mark is right there. I don't know if you can see. Okay, we're going to get closer. And 10 foot right over there. You can't really see, but you'll see closer. And that's going to be 10 feet from the fence and 10 feet from the garage. No, let's see. You can see it here. See, right there. That's 10 feet because that's what Trooper just did. Said that's where Officer John O'Keefe was. So just mark there just for a reference point. So, which is approximately what the distance was from where Officer O'Keefe found Canton, 10 feet from the road. So we're going to pretend that over there is a road. We're going to pretend that over there is a road. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to take said plastic and we're going to sprinkle them about 10 feet from that way and 10 feet from that way. And we're going to get about, they said between 4 and 12 inches of snow. So God only knows what the fuck we're actually going to get. But we're all prepared because we have our handy dandy tools of the trade. And Stop and Shop bags and red Solo cups are inside. So when it stops, we're going to uncover a crime scene to see just how hard it is to find these pieces, which is going to be 7 in each pile, or each area. How to uncover them with a leaf blower and see what we could do. Now, again, I'm not sprinkling them all over my whole entire driveway because I need to be able to use my driveway. I don't need to have things in my tires. Also, I walk around. So my animals, my puppy walks around. And so we're going to have little out of bounds. Like we're going to push the snow a certain direction. Now, you can see there's already a little piece of ice that was, you can see the little raised area. There was already ice there. Right here. Right about the 10-foot mark. A little bit past. So it is going to be on top of a little bit of ice. But there's snow on top. And anything that we learned from court testimony is that there was between 0 and 4 inches of snow. I don't know. Something along those lines. So this looks like a nice spot. Again, a little bit more than a dusting. So let's go put them out here. So as you can see, this is the first step that I'm taking when the snow was out, or when it starts snowing. See, there are no footprints here from anything. And I do just, if anybody wants to get froggy with me, there's a camera there that records 24 hours. There's a camera there that records 24 hours, right where the light is, above the second floor. There's a camera there that records 24 hours. So you're going to see if anybody is walking around doing funny business or anything. But once I place these, they're going to be there. So we're going to do here first. Okay, again, that's 10 feet. 10 feet. So we have this pile right here, and we're going to pretend like there was a collision. Bam! There we go. Okay, 10 feet. 10 feet. Okay. Now this is a little cheating because we know where they are approximately, and there's a smaller area if, we know where we're looking, so we have that little bit of advantage, but we'll see. So, okay, again, the snow, 6 pieces. And come over here. All nice. Okay. Make sure I don't get my car. And again, 10 feet from here, 10 feet from there. shit. There we go. Okay. And collision. Okay, that one's getting a little bit more, but you know what? That's didn't go 30 feet like what the diagram says from the Commonwealth, but okay. We have variance. That's good. Okay, 6 pieces there. Took a picture of them. You can see what the pictures look like. And we're gonna go get the 2 big pieces and place those as well. All right. No, just me walking. Not quite a bit, but there's enough so that it won't stick to the asphalt. So over there. There we go. Good. And over here. Alrighty. So now we wait until snow covered. Come over here. Wait until. Okay. So we have caution tape marked off the area, inbounds. I mean, again, this little thing there, we don't worry about it. It's coming through. So,
You mean you actually marked off the area with crime scene tape? Something I didn't think that was necessary. I didn't think you had to do that.
That is exactly what I was just about to ask. I was going to say, I was going to rotate this sideways so we can see a little better, but I was going to say, all right, what did we do different than Canton? And go.
Exactly. She secured her scene. She marked it off with tape so nobody could trample onto her scene. She had all of her tools ready and waited till she had all her tools there and could use them.
Yeah, right there and right there. Yep. So we have crime scene tape or caution tape or something. Well, first of all, we designated an area of where there was an incident of crime. Second of all, we marked it off with some sort of limiting factor, meaning crime scene tape saying, hey, don't step over here because this is important for us. And we designated the area. Number 3, I don't have somebody, sitting vigil, but I do have, I pointed to all the cameras saying, hey, make sure that nobody snuck on to, steal the pieces or add pieces or whatever, because everything was under surveillance. I think I have the cards that those were on just in case anybody, just in case anything comes up with this. But I have something saying, hey, nobody touched with anything. Nobody trampled in there. There was, I think, a cat that walked through at one point, but that was it. Yeah. And so also it's actively snowing. And I know that the big thing was, well, we got a huge storm. We were supposed to get a whole bunch of snow. The forecast was, like I said, between 4 and 12 inches of snow. And I still put crime scene tape up. And guess what? It didn't melt or evaporate, or it didn't combust into flames, or whatever they said the reason was. So that didn't happen. So yeah, so that's the end of this one. And I'll show you one more. And then I don't know if you want to go further, but we can save that for tomorrow. Where is, let's see, this one. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, we can save some for tomorrow for sure. We're at the 3:26 mark, so I think we're going to have to.
I've got plenty. Okay, hang on. Let me do this. Okay.
I love MCAT's sense of humor. Did the cat identify as a German Shepherd?
The cat did not leave kitty cat marks. The kitty cat trail did not leave kitty cat marks.
Oh my gosh,
and
Julie,
I don't believe it was Chloe.
I really wish that we could get our last 4 weeks of Friday Night Lies to Karen Reed somehow and her family, to see how just us commoners are spending our time to go over her case, because we truly care about her and we really care that she gets vindicated. And the fact that you are willing to spend all of your time doing these experiments is just really touching. I personally find it very touching, because not many people are willing to do that. But there's so many people out here in the commoners world that are making charts and graphs and pulling up videos and clipping videos. And there's just so many people on social media trying to show her innocence and prove her innocence. And I just find that incredibly touching. And I hope that it'll be a kind of a shining light and a beacon for others in other communities where crime and corruption is going on and where cases are not being solved. That if this can happen in Canton, Massachusetts, it can happen anywhere. And if this kind of community support that has now gone nationwide and worldwide, because we had South Africa in the chat tonight, we've had Australia in the chat, we've had England in the chat, we had we've had a couple other countries now. I can't remember. I think we've had France in the chat. So if something can go worldwide like this, it's kind of a promising to me that other people whose cases seem forgotten and that their families feel like there's nobody there to care about what happens to them, that we can rally communities, that this is a wonderful example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I did this out of curiosity, but then looked and was like, once I realized, I was like, holy shit, this might actually do something. Like, start thinking like, oh, maybe this can help something. Like, at the very least, this will help Canton by saying like, oh, you think this is innovative? Well, like, you'll see what the rest of it looks like. Like, Kat's seen some of it. If you think this is innovative, okay. That's different. Okay.
So now I started out with the FU hat tonight, and I normally end with it because we get frustrated with all the crazy lies and the evasiveness in the testimony. But let's end our night with the love hat, because honestly, you have to have a lot of love in your heart and a lot of empathy to follow true crime in the first place, and to start to feel a true like care and concern for these people that are being screwed over by the government and the police, and sometimes even their own family members are involved in screwing them over. So people that follow true crime and want justice and are justice seekers, it's not an easy hobby. Most people have easy hobbies that don't bring them any stress or nightmares. I mean, guys, I actually had like a freaking nightmare the other night, and scary people from this case were in my dream. And I kind of was like, I woke up like in a cold sweat, and it wasn't the menopause. And it was like, I was like, oh crap, And then I had another dream a couple of weeks ago about this Sarah Ebersol and some of these people that are making these threats, like threatening to make Michelle disappear. And I've been threatened already myself by some of these family members of the person of interest, not outwardly, more legally, like they're threatening to sue me. Like, I know Mike's been sued, and there's several, I'm sure, live streamers other in the past and the future, they're going to be sued. But yeah, they're threatening to sue me because I'm asking this person to answer one simple question: where did you drive Sarah Ebersol? And they're threatening to sue me over that. So it can be very scary when you volunteer and when you advocate for true crime. And even those of you that are doing it in this way, coming on the show live. Julie's on the show live with her first name and her face. And what if Brian Albert gets ticked because we're going over the testimony every Friday night and we're trying to show that there are lies and evasiveness? And what if we get on the hit list? I mean, I'm exaggerating, but you just never know. People that are desperate to cover up their crime. Yes, crazy things happen, and you have to be very careful. So I just kind of caution all of you that love to follow true crime and that want to help out get justice for people, and that you're being loud and vocal in your communities, but try to be safe about it as well, because these people have committed crimes. They don't want to go to jail for the rest of their life. And one crime begets another crime, and one crime covers, sometimes they have to do another crime to cover up a crime. And then that's where innocent people get in trouble and can be hurt possibly or threatened. So we do all have to be very careful when we're making justice seeking and standing for victims of homicide and victims of the M word our passion and our volunteer world. So thank you, Julie. You're amazing.
Oh, wait. One, I'm sorry. There's one more. It's I think 2.5 minutes.
Oh, got it. No, let me find it. Add to Sage. I got it. Is that it?
Fantastic.
Okay.
Yep. Sunday, February 9th. So, all right, we'll do quick. Like I said, this is, I think, 2.5 minutes. This is just the next day to show.
I think it's 11:31 a.m. 11:31 hours. As you can see, I'm inside now, but it's snow. We had a little bit of snow. Wasn't a foot that we had, or that was expected. Wasn't 5 inches. Somewhere in the middle.
Exactly, MCAT. Super Bowl.
Some places they said we had 3 inches. Which is bullshit. We had 3 inches by the time. No, train of thought. Anyways, Yeah, it was coming down. I haven't been outside here. This was undisturbed. Me and the puppy went out front. So as you can see, everything is undisturbed. I'm gonna open the door and we're gonna take a measurement.
Yep.
Everything.
And oh my God, the caution tape is still there. Didn't get eaten by the snow.
is undisturbed. Remarkable. See. Yeah, fingerprints. I don't see footprints, trackings of any type, so we're good. Wait, open the door.
Yes, this is the first time I opened it just to show.
See, all undisturbed.
So it wasn't tampered with or anything.
All undisturbed. Over there.
See?
You can't see what I'm looking at. Yeah, all undisturbed. That little pattern by the chair is from tree snow accumulation and falls down. Well, so this is what we have. The recording. Yep. Okay. All right. So undisturbed. So I'm gonna take a step. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna measure from there. Take a measurement here, and I'm gonna take a measurement out there. So
And then I tried to get a picture of this. I don't know if you could see.
it's about 6 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 6 inches there. It's about 7.5 inches over by the quote unquote crime scene. So
Right.
it's not nothing.
Yeah.
No.
There's no. I mean, there's no agreement. How much was on the ground in Canton? It was no snow to a dusting, to an inch, to a half an inch, to 2 inches, to 6 inches, which is what we have here. I'll show you. Take a step. What 6 inches of snow looks like. See what's buried, and I'm not even at the wood, so it might be 7 inches. But I mean, it's fairly significant.
Yeah.
Amount. But yeah,
You
so,
timed this out just perfect with this snowfall.
I can see, I think that is
Well, kind of, sort of.
sun's out.
Little luck involved.
About 6 inches. Good thing is that's nice and fluffy.
Yeah, see, that helped because we had
it's
snow that was
big
heavy
snow
and
was,
frozen.
But I know
stuck.
it wasn't.
Right.
This is nice, light, fluffy snow. So
Yeah.
that'll make it interesting. Let's put it that way. When we go to phase 2. So, all right. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna.
Yep. Okay, so just to all right, yeah, so that's basically it. So then from here, so what I did was I got an actual snowblower out and cleared the rest of the driveway except for this area right over here, which is the crime scene. Again, I threw everything this way and away
Mhm.
from it. So it
Yeah.
all remained untouched. And then tomorrow
Perfect.
or
Yes.
another point, we'll see what happens
Tomorrow. Yeah.
with that. So we'll see what happens with the crime scene.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Epic Julie, with all of your crime scene reconstruction. Like I said, you need to go apply for Trooper Paul's job ASAP.
Oh my God.
While it's still hot before the trial.
Well, wait. So all right. So this piece goes on because Trooper Paul said so many ridiculous things. My favorite Trooper Paulism.
Yeah.
And this is I think he said this under Lally.
Yeah.
Because Lally was trying to like, okay, this guy's so stupid and doesn't understand what's going on, or he's just ignorant or whatever, but like doesn't understand what's going on. He's gonna get obliterated by Jackson. Let me try to and they knew that they were going to bring in the collision with the taillight when Karen bumped her in the driveway. So he brought in and they said, okay, do you see here how the car moved and see how it could have cracked and see how there was most likely a mark on John O'Keefe's Traverse? Why isn't there a mark? Did somebody repair this? And Trooper Paul said, no, there wasn't a mark because Karen's Lexus had a clear coat on it, meaning that it was shiny. And John O'Keefe's car had a matte finish, and matte finishes don't leave marks. So buy a matte finished car because then when you get into a collision, they won't leave marks. That's a real thing that he said.
We do have to watch him again. We've got to.
No, I thought I was gonna have an aneurysm watching it the first time. Please don't make me watch it again.
I know we may have to though, because it's just classic. And maybe what we'll do is we'll watch it right before he's going to go again. Are they calling him back? They have to. I mean,
Yeah,
he did the
So
reconstruction.
he's
They
back,
have
and then and then their expert person is, I guess, the guy who trained him. But they have another expert who has
Right.
140 slide presentation. And if anybody knows if that's available or out, I have some other experiments I'm holding on to because it sounds like he did something very similar to what I did with coconuts. I don't know if he used coconuts, but it sounds like he did something very similar, and I want to see it before I show it because
well,
there's
you
some
know what I was
significant
just thinking, you
stuff, so.
got my brain working now. Maybe because we're not going to get everybody we want to get before the trial starts, maybe what we should start doing is once we're caught up to where we where we need to be, we definitely want to see Higgins, we got to see Jen, and we got to finish Matt. Maybe what we should do now is those that we didn't see, we'll watch them the night before they go. And then we can do the recap of what they said on Friday Night Lies. What do you think of that idea?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Once it starts going, like, are we going to do like a recap of like, hey,
Yeah,
what was happening throughout the week or something like that? Like,
right.
hey,
Friday Night
this,
Lies will
that,
just
stuff like that.
become the recap of the trial that week,
Yeah.
and we'll show bits and pieces of the really damning, whatever. We'll do the cross mostly. I don't think anyone wants to suffer through Brendan twice in 1 week, so we'll just do the cross on Friday nights, at little bits and pieces of it, but we'll do a full recap. But maybe the night before, like if we don't get to Trooper Paul before it starts, the night before he testifies, we'll do a Friday Night Lies to look at his old testimony from trial 1, and then we can recap on Friday night his trial testimony.
I have to listen to him 4 times. That's torture.
That's torture. It's just torture. But we'll just do the cross on Paul too. We won't do Lally for the rest of the going forward. We'll just do the cross on everybody going forward. I like to do a little bit of Lally with like Jen too, because it shows her demeanor. The change in demeanor is just so epic.
We were in shock and horror.
I know how they behave with Lally and how they behave with Yannetti or Jackson or Attorney Little is just so different. And it's good to show a little bit of Lally, but not much, because it's just too painful. It's just too painful. Well, thank you, everybody. Let's just pick up with Matt tomorrow night then on Cross, and then we'll hopefully be able to, we should be able to start Jen, and then we'll finish Jen next Friday, and then we'll figure out our game plan for if the trial does start on Tuesday or Wednesday, or gosh, it's just freaking me out that this new trial is going to start. I can't even believe it. It was like a year ago right now that the trial started. It's like, what is happening that we're doing this again? It's like an alternate universe, right?
Yep.
Just doesn't seem possible. Well, thank you, everyone live in the chat tonight. Thank you, everyone that watched live. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for subscribing. Please spread out the channel. We need advocacy for our other, all of the victims that we're advocating for. Sarah Ebersol, Jason Veach, Sandra Birchmore, Suzanne Morphew, Suzanne Clark Simpson. We're still looking for the remains of Jennifer Doulos. We're still advocating for the person that's in jail, Michelle Triconis, to please tell us where she thinks Fotis Doulos might have put Jennifer, or anyone else that knows anything about the whereabouts of Jennifer, so she can be returned to her family. And we're advocating, obviously, for Karen Reed and for John O'Keefe. And then we have our 2 survivors now that we are advocating for, Hannah and for Angry Survivor, because the perpetrators of domestic violence on them and the injuries they sustained, they are both currently in jail. Hannah's husband has been in jail for 19 years for setting her on fire, and he's getting out of jail in about a year. And Angry Survivors, the perpetrator of the violence on her and the stalking, he's in jail and has a court hearing in July and may bond out. We don't know, but he's sworn to hurt her, to kill her. And so we are working with both these women to try to make sure they stay protected and have all the resources they need, and make phone calls, whatever we need to do to help protect these ladies. There was a very sad case recently in the Miami area here in Florida of a victim of domestic violence who had been a victim for several years, had a 4-year-old child, left the perpetrator, was living in the home. Her father had moved in because he was continuing to make threats. He'd had 4 restraining orders against him. She had called the police multiple times, reporting that he wasn't letting up, that he was continuing to stalk her, continuing to send death threats to her. And And he did. He showed up at her home. This was a few months back, and he unalived her father, and then he chased her down the street of their neighborhood. She ran into a neighbor's house, and he shot her and the neighbor. And so triple homicide on the outskirts of Miami. I'm going to do just a brief coverage of it next Wednesday on the Angry Bitch Club, because it's Broward County knew about this man. They knew how dangerous he was. He basically swore he would never give up until she was dead. And now he's pleading not guilty in his trial. And it's epically disgusting and sickening that he had joint custody of this child, because according to the courts, he wasn't a danger to the child, but he was telling the child he was going to unalive the mother. Every time she was in his custody, she would come home and tell her mommy that daddy's going to kill you, mommy. And this man was allowed to remain free and clear and unalive a neighbor who had nothing to do with him and her father. It's a disgusting, despicable case of domestic violence, and how the laws are not protecting women enough. Why are we asking women who have been beaten and choked and threatened for months and months and months to share joint custody with a monster? And why would we want our children being raised by someone who beats their wife, who beats the mother of their children? They have to fix this, that there has to be something done. Now, I'm not saying that they can't possibly go through rehabilitation and turn their lives around and make changes where they could see their children supervised at first, but not allowed to have any contact with the mother. I mean, we have to do better. Department of Child and Families has to do better. And it's just really sad. And Sarah Eboso's daughter is currently in the custody of a career criminal, a liar, a con man, a manipulator. And I'm not saying this as opinion. I have read tons and tons of his police reports, thanks to Michelle, Sarah's sister. This man has custody of Sarah's daughter right now, and he plotted this for years before she went missing. He plotted every step he took because he's a con man. And it's the handwriting's all on the wall of Sarah being unalived. And so it makes me sick. It makes me sad that we don't have better protection for women who inadvertently end up falling in love with a sociopath or a narcissist or a criminal, and then their lives are taken because this person will not let them go unless they can manipulate them, control them, beat them, and you do everything they say. And one of the chilling things that Sarah said in a text message to her family prior to her going missing was, "I just let Joe have his way because then he's not as violent." So she was literally being coerced to do everything that Joe wanted because she was so afraid of him and so afraid of what he would do next and what he might do to their daughter. And she lived in fear for all these years that they weren't even dating anymore, that he was stalking her and manipulating her and using the child as a bartering chip. It's all in writing. It's in proven court documents and text messages from her to her family. It's just despicable, and we have to do better. So I really appreciate you, all of you that join our channel and subscribe to Social Change Warriors and our advocacy mission to stand for victims of homicide and the M word and being framed like Karen Reed and Ellen Greenberg, who was framed for her own unaliving, and Sandra Birchmore was framed for her own unaliving. And thankfully that case is moving so slowly forward, but Ellen Greenberg's is still stuck right now. They still have not, the new medical examiner still has not turned over her unaliving of herself, 20 stab wounds, to a homicide case. So we're patiently waiting for that to happen. So thank you. I appreciate all of you. Thanks to everyone who comes live. Thank you to Julie. Thank you to everyone in the chat, Shauna, MCAT, Kathy, Amanda tonight, many others that have joined us many times live and in the chat box. We really appreciate your comments and your suggestions and your advocacy for all of our victims of domestic violence and of other homicides and of the missing. So we'll be back tomorrow night with the Matt McCabe show and the Jen McCabe show. Hopefully we'll get into Jen as well and more of Julie and her epic crime scene experiments. So thanks everyone. Good night. Good night, Joel. See you tomorrow.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much. It's just us calling out corruption. My life mattered.
Oh They try to silence the truth we shout, but we're still here, we're still calling out. Corruption hides behind a badge of name. We light the fire, expose the shame. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. The stories echo, the pain runs deep. For stolen lives we can't just weep. Elected power but their hearts are cold. We'll bring the truth, let it be told. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight. The heroes undo the harm, calling out corruption. We'll stand tall for justice and truth. We'll risk it all. My life mattered is the cry we sing. Together we